Happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. I'm still on tour. Atlanta, Phoenix. This week's guest, Steve Morrison from Preston and Steve, along with Doug Benson. As always, go to BertBertBert.com. Have a safe 4th of July.
Is the Bertcast.
Perfect. I'm recording.
There you go.
I start. Maybe we should turn the
TV off.
Yeah.
directly over your shoulders. Ben Foster is a fucking amazing actor.
Yeah, he's great. What's he?
He's acting.
What's he upset about?
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
What?
Wait, just listen to him. He's so over the top.
Oh, that was a great shot of her.
Naked.
Do you know that first shot was not? That was just purchased by Hefner. That classic, iconic Playboy shot of Marilyn Monroe.
Oh,
it was purchased. It had already existed, and he purchased it and he published it. That was the only difference. But it wasn't commissioned for Playboy.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I always thought they shot that.
No. My understanding is that was purchased. He purchased that.
Holy shit! I met Hef.
Of course, that could be right out of my asshole, but that's what I hear. That's the.
He looks amazing.
Hef does?
Amazing.
Wow, man! Because I've seen pictures where he's a string.
They told me that I did Andrea and Kevin's show. Do you ever do Andrea and Kevin's show? The Playboy Morning show?
Playboy Morning, yeah.
I did Andrea and Kevin's show, and we were on the mansion playground. Fuck, I am still fucked up from last night.
Dude, I can't even believe you're alive.
I am still fucked up from last night.
You were
it was
there?
ridiculous.
It was entirely way too much debauchery when Joe Flacco showed up.
Yeah, Joe Flacco was there.
No
yeah.
kidding.
One of those fucking crazy nights where you wake up, you're like, Joe Flacco was there.
So was he just a fan who stopped by, or
I wouldn't
just
say a
in
fan.
town?
I think he was dragged there by some
think he's
people.
dragged
Like
there
he was
by
there with a
people.
group.
You know, he's from Jersey.
Really?
Yeah. His family's over in Jersey.
He was a big fan of Doug in the features.
Well, there you go.
He liked you, didn't he?
He didn't say anything.
I didn't even do a set. I just wandered.
Your guest.
I wandered out while Bert was on stage, and we just talked for a while in front of the audience.
It was great.
It was so much fun.
That's
It
cool.
was-
But yeah, but
so
like,
fucking fun.
but he was like, I think that was Joe Flacco.
The kid next to me kept going, I thought he was saying Waka Flocka. Waka Flocka Flame is here? And he goes, Flacco.
And so I went out I went out to check and see if it was because he was standing out in front of the club with his people, and I went outside and I went, "Are you?" And he goes, "Yeah."
That's when you reach a level. It's something we talk about all the time because we're on. You guys are a lot more prominent because you're out, more visibly. But when on radio,
let me really quick introduce in the room.
Introduce your guest,
before I go into my
idiot.
explanation.
It's
The world's worst podcaster.
Doug Benson and Steve. I don't even know your last name.
Morrison.
Steve
Yeah,
Morrison.
I know.
I know.
It's just Steve, right?
Steve from Preston and Steve.
Well,
the
that'll actually
biggest-
feed into my story that I'm
The
about to
biggest show in Philly, the show
And
that
is-
sells out every fucking time you come to Helium. Everyone, the show's big when people know your call letters.
Yeah.
They're like, I listen on what?
WMMR.
WMMR, and I go, what? And they're like, Preston and Steve.
Well, I'm gonna make you feel good with the two ways here. Right in our own complex at Greater Media, where we're broadcasting from, people call Preston Steve and call me Preston. So I mean, we've been there for many years, and I'm bald and he has a full head of hair. So still, they can't get that down. But the thing about when somebody just says yeah, when somebody comes, are you, and they already go yeah, that's a level of celebrity that we don't, because I always think. I did it one time, and I thought, what if that guy just thought I looked like his cousin, or and I'm going to look like such a fucking douche.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced that was Flacco.
We had recon. They were like, he's got a Florida ID.
He's really tall.
Tax purposes.
He looks footballish, does he not?
But football players I don't associate with tallness necessarily. They're big,
Yeah.
but big everywhere. That guy.
Tom Brady's tall as shit, and his hands are like fucking catcher's mitts. And Joe Flacco, someone goes, yeah, it's Joe Flacco, and then someone goes, which one? I go, the 6'7" dude.
Yeah.
Not the guys he's with, but they came back to the club. They
came back in after I went and did the hey, are you? And he went, yeah. They got convinced to come back in, but then they didn't stay for very long.
They left. I don't know. It was not an intimate type setting last night after the show.
I have never seen. I love Helium. I love playing there, but that bar is like my own private playground after the shows. Usually, it's usually me and maybe a couple of people from the show and the staff. It was Bert gets the entire crowd to go out to the bar and continue to just drink and act like lunatics.
Literally, they went through like 2 bottles of Jack Daniels.
Wow.
It was.
Do you always always take all your pictures with the fans with your shirt off?
I have, yes. I did last
Not
night.
always, though.
No,
You
not
did
always.
with Courtney Love.
Yeah, I did
In
with
our
Courtney Love. I
studio.
definitely
Yeah,
did with Courtney Love. If it's someone famous, I'll take my shirt off in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So, but I know what happened was my shirt was so wet. Doug came.
Oh
on
yeah,
stage.
you were soaking wet.
Doug
yeah.
came on stage, and literally it was like I said this. Someone, the wait staff. We were hanging out with the wait staff after. Everything was a little dodgy because I don't remember much of last night. But
right.
I was hanging out with the wait staff last night, and they were like, tonight was an amazing night, and I was like, yeah, it really was great because we had pizza. That's what I thought they were talking about. and they were like,
You low expectations. Pizza.
They're like, Joe Flacco was in the back. Doug Benson just walked on stage, and you guys improv'd. I go, you guys improv'd? I sat there and giggled for fucking 30 minutes. I was laughing so hard, I started sweating profusely, and so I sweat through my shirt entirely.
You were a mess.
So,
Yeah, you could see the all these weird spots appearing on your shirt.
You could see my nipples, so I was like, I'll just take it off.
Yeah.
But I definitely got a shirtless picture with Joe Flacco.
Did you?
Joe
Yeah.
Flacco and,
Did he know that? Did you explain the procedure for that, or did you
I asked him to
fired on?
I asked him to take his off. And
Okay,
he said, no.
he probably didn't. Yeah.
But
The dudes who should take their shirts off never do.
Yeah.
The guys who have no reason to always do.
I was wondering why they left so early because they came in and it was packed.
I think there's too many people bugging him. Probably.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people started taking pictures with him once he.
He's a good dude from what I hear, but I mean,
he seems really nice.
You get set upon, and that's it. You know,
a little standoffish. You
Was
think
he? Yeah.
well, you think he'd say something about my set?
He said to me.
nothing, no feedback.
He said to me when I went out and met him on the sidewalk. He said, "Tell the other guy, Sal Kalani." He's like, "Tell him that."
Sal's name?
No, he didn't say that. I'm saying it for the sake of the story.
Sal
He has
Kalani.
no idea who you are. Tell Sal Kalani.
Tell Sal Kalani I love the Cleveland Browns joke. I guess he did a joke about the Browns, and
Well, that made his night.
yeah.
So
Maybe you just didn't talk about football enough.
I know.
And maybe he complimented you on your set if most of your set wasn't just listening to me say stuff.
yeah, maybe that was it.
So
He didn't even know you were the headliner. He thought you were some sweaty guy from the kitchen who was filling in until the stoner showed up.
he must have called that guy up from the audience.
That'd be funny if after we talked for a while I said, "All right, Bert, I got this," and you left the stage
Thanks a lot.
and I finished your set.
Hey, when I was 22, I got involved with the Russian. I said, I go, Doug, why don't you tell one of my jokes? Why don't you tell? I said, I think I said that. I don't remember. And then I said,
No, you said you kept complimenting me on having jokes. You kept saying, "I
God.
wish I had jokes."
I looked at him and he was so confident, and I was like, I'm just hoping something funny happens. But then I go, why don't you tell the machine story? And he goes, I've never been to Michigan. That's how fucked up we were.
So
I thought you said tell the Michigan story, and I've been to Michigan.
this is the
I don't know why
second
I
show?
said that.
This is
The second show. All right. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
gone.
I had
All right.
gone out. I had my 420 show yesterday.
Yep.
And started hitting the booze and the smoke before, during, and after that show. And then, I went, "I'll see you guys later." And I went around Philadelphia and got more fucked up, and then came back to the club. It was an arduous night of drinking.
For years, though, we in this city there was not a club like Helium, and Helium has reset the bar because it's a legitimate comedy club, and now people love to come through town and play it. But I mean,
Yeah, I
there was
didn't before I
nothing
was
going
here. I would only play here if there was like some kind of random gig a few times. But
Yeah.
since Helium's been here, it's been my jam. I like play here.
fucking love it.
At
How-
least,
did you
at
grow
least
up
once or
in
twice a year.
No. I grew up in New York, but worked down here all the time. For about 10 or 11 years, I was doing stand-up, and I did it a lot
Seriously?
down here. Yeah, for the colleges down here.
Yeah.
It was like a Boston thing, so you'd
Yeah.
be down here all the time. And it was at that height where, even Ground Rounds had comedy nights, so you'd be doing that stuff. And I'd be down here all the time, but for a good portion of my professional career, I've worked down in Philly, and I friggin' love it. I love the city. And as I say, it has everything that I love about New York, with about 2/3 less bullshit, where you can actually get to the things that you want to go experience.
Rittenhouse Park right over there was
Rittenhouse
so
is
gorgeous
awesome.
yesterday.
Yeah.
I walk through it every time I walk to the club, and you just see everyone and it's the weather's changed.
Yeah.
So everyone's in sundresses. All the girls have pants at the top of their thighs. I'm like a fucking throbbing penis walking around the city, just going, holy shit, everyone looks fucking hot.
Well, we did a couple times on the show. We actually set up what we call the boo blind, where we had like an actual blind up, because it's at that time of the season where it starts to change. and we put a whole bunch of listeners and interns out there with binoculars, and we were Ustreaming it back because it's just. Oh. It's just phenomenal. When the weather starts turning warm, for Christ's sake, it's mad, especially down where you were.
Yeah.
It's just glorious.
Yeah, I just stand on the street corner going, "You're pretty. You're pretty too."
Some girls from your 420 show came walking by and recognized me. I wish I could remember her name right now. She was so fucking hot, and it's like the things that I notice, like when I put my arm around someone to take a picture, and they've never had
Randy.
a baby.
You like Randy?
Is it Randy?
Everything's very, very where it should be.
Oh, everything's where it should be. The arms are tight.
Right,
and I'm
right.
oh, she must do push-ups.
Yeah, what's with these tight arms?
Did you hear my joke last night about Philly? I go there there's very few cities. I love this city. There's very few cities where the people that live in the city define the city.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's Rwanda, there's Belfast, and there's Philly.
Wow.
It got a good laugh.
Yeah. No,
I wrote that joke in Baltimore.
Did you use it in Baltimore
I used it
too?
in Baltimore. Baltimore scared the fuck out of me. Baltimore was such an intense city. I'd never seen like homeless people touching you.
Really?
They fucking hit somebody. I went in my head. There's this like common decency. Like homeless people are not supposed to touch us. They're allowed to yell.
Right, it's like
not
when
like
they
a
jump out at you
Halloween
and a haunted house.
Right.
They're not supposed to touch us.
Don't worry. They're not legally. The homeless people can't touch you.
There's like an understood law that when they're like, I'll kill the motherfucker, stab him in the face, and you're like, I know this is what homeless people do. He's not going to hit me.
Well, isn't that when it transcends? It's just merely homeless and becomes homicidal.
Yeah, and that's what happened in Baltimore. Like
Right.
twice. Once was in the mall. I was like, what is the homeless guy doing in the mall at the Toomey store?
Well, they do. They have that walking club in the morning.
Yeah.
So they walk around.
Oh yeah,
Salient to me. So what? I mean, you were talking about this before we started recording, but Philly in the list of cities you love to play, it's way up there.
Oh yeah, hands down. Well,
I have a ball every time I come here. It's like
fucking amazing.
And it was funny there was like a little learning curve with Helium. The first few times I played there, it was kind of a rowdy room, and you know, just sort of a lot of people, probably, no offense, New Jersey, but you know how you are, and it's a lot of people coming from Jersey, and it was like it felt like a New York comedy club, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's evolved into now it's just a place where people that live here that like comedy go, and the crowds are great, and they're very. I mean, I guess part of it is that they're there to see me, whereas I used to, when I first started playing there, I was the kind of headliner where a lot of people would come in that not knowing what they were going to see. Yeah. Just come and let's go to the comedy club.
You noticed the point at which the transition became they were just not simply going to a comedy club, they were coming to see you.
Yeah, well, Super High Me certainly got me a lot of that, and then podcasting is just really taken to the next level because I mention all my dates on my podcast, and so the people that listen come, and they're already, like, if they're listening to a podcast, they'll, it's like that thing last night with us just standing on stage together. Yeah, it's like they're fine with that. Like that's not nobody's sitting there going, no, get back to the act, do your jokes. Yeah. Like they were having fun because we were having fun, and they're used to us talking to each other. Yeah,
the dialogue has changed.
We're in our ears all the time. Their ears all the time.
The dialogue's changed entirely. I was told a story on the second show Friday that I think was. I want to say it was just a story about. Oh my God! Talk about.
Jesus,
inside.
get to it.
There was. I was
I'm on the edge of my seat.
I'm still fucking holding on by a thread. I took an asthma inhaler hit. That's how hard we partied last night.
Wow.
I was telling a story about how Priscilla, my dog. I can tell how the interview is going to go based on how she greets the person at the door.
Really?
And yeah, because the dog she's big as fuck, and so she, like Ari, when she met Ari, she was like, "Oh, I'm not really cool about. I'm not sure about this guy." Like she was like, "Papers, I need his papers." And but Bill Burr, she came over and she was like, "Oh yeah, with Marin." I said with Marin, I didn't even roll the dice. I put the dog in the house and walked him around the side. I was like, I'm not going to fucking let Priscilla judge him.
Well,
he doesn't need it from a dog.
Because the dynamic, we were talking about this when you're on the show. We were talking about how the dynamic has changed. There is a podcast culture. Our podcast for the show happens to be really big. We jumped on it immediately, and the mindset was, well, yeah, we just put up 10 minutes of of your favorite moment of the show. And I'm like, no. If people want to come and grab the show, Preston and I were of the same mind on this. Give them what they're looking for. So we put up almost the whole show.
Yeah, it's it's just like TiVo or whatever, but with radio. You can listen to it at your convenience if you some people don't have to get up early in the morning.
And it reinforced the show itself. What happened was people started because all right, so they had their show they were listening to that they liked, but they're more inclined to listen to a show out of the regular time. All right, let me check that. Oh, I like that. I like that more than the show I listen to in the morning, and it fed around like that. For you guys, and we were talking about this, Doug, about now as far as podcasts are in popularity level, I really think in this case it's a case of who got to it first, who got to it earliest, and who amassed the largest audience. Because there are so many podcasts, So to distinguish yourself, you got to have something else, and if you can tie, like Adam Carolla at the beginning, he got on it early, and so is his show the best?
He got on it early and often because he also adopted the 5-day-a-week strategy,
right,
and treating it like radio.
I always wonder if 2 days a week, like I experimented with dropping 2 a week, to see if that would keep my numbers higher.
And did they?
It does, but it's the same. I mean, it's not like I'm getting new listeners.
Right.
So in my head, I was like, well, I'll just do 1 a week because that way I can space them out. Because when I started shooting Drip Flip, I'll be like, I'm screwed. I'll be interviewing my sound guy again. So, guys, let's talk to John Sales. John, what's it like living in the woods in Colorado?
How about you just losing your mind in a hotel room? Like
Martin Sheen. Apocalypse.
Like if only he had a podcast.
Yeah. If it would have been great,
he might not have gone up the river.
I don't think I haven't taped a few, guys.
Yes. Your next podcast will start with Saigon shit.
It would. I tried a number of. Did one on my treadmill where I hooked up mics to my treadmill and I walked and I talked because I think really good when I walk.
Yeah.
Like when I walk at like a 3, my brain kind of floats. So I did the one like that. Horrible. I did one where I was like, let's see if I get drunk if I really spew some genius. Horrible. I did one with my kids. Horrible. I could not. It's better. I have a better conversation with people that I know. Like I can do this, but yeah.
How many podcasts have you ever S-canned? That you ever just recorded and said no? That ain't making it.
I love his radio expression. S-can.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
we can fucking say shit can.
Holy F.
Yeah.
He said friggin' earlier too. Like he's got them all down.
You got to watch it. We explode during the commercial breaks. That's where we let loose. People say, "How do you keep from cursing on the air?" And then we'll tell people during the commercials it might get a little heavy.
But
it's a switch you flip,
When you have sex, you're like, oh, your pee is so good. I think I'm gonna C all over your B.
You know what though?
And your C.
What I do like about it, though, and it's the difference between that and say like a satellite or just a podcast where you're generating the content specifically for the podcast, is that I do in a bizarre way dig having a line to cross where you'll say something. And everyone will have that look on their face, and that's why the thing I've worked out, and Preston and the other members of the show will say it. You dump it if you need to, but if we have to live in fear of saying it, then it's going to just have things up. So sometimes if it's just carte blanche, there's no line to cross.
Well, it's neat because it allows you, like, if I have a joke in my head that's dirty, I will.
Well, the way you were slaloming around, you were on the show, and you were talking about something that everyone could commiserate with, and you were looking for that way to spin it around and hold it up so that it would make it through, and you did.
It was fun. It was fun to watch.
Yeah,
it was funny. One time I had that joke I tell on stage. I don't know if either of you saw it or have heard it, but where I talk about my wife farting during oral sex, and I was on my buddy Cowhead's show. Do you know Cowhead?
No.
He's a great guy. You'd love him.
Yeah.
So I was on Cowhead's show, and I was like, and I told that on stage, and he was like, I love that bit. I wonder if there's a way you can tell it. And I go, well, yeah, just say she farted on my chin. And he goes, no, that's a little too there. Like, we know where you are when you hear that.
Yeah, but it's weird because we'll say it, and there are 4 dump buttons around the complex. So it's the music director, the assistant program director, the program director, and then there's maybe 3 then. But they can all grab it. But it's just, to me, it's kind of cool to have a line to cross, Yeah. Because I remember years ago, before any of this, we had the ability to just, curse, and it was not an issue. I remember when I'd hear something get through on the radio, I'd hear something that I thought was pushing the boundaries. It's like, holy shit. night?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what you said that I thought was really interesting when we were on the show? It was in between the show. You're like, yeah, it's interesting the guys who do podcasts come on radio with podcast tempo.
Yes.
And then guys that have done radio know how to get out of now do podcasts, know how to get out of it and do radio tempo.
And switch on up. There is a difference. Podcast tempo is and I mean, like this to me is feels comfortable to what we do on the air. But like, for example, we've had a couple people in who have, successful podcasts, and they're great. However, they're in a much more, I think their podcast might get me recorded, Friday nights at 11, candlelit room, like a Stevie Nicks, living room setup, and it's a lot more relaxed, and they don't know how to switch it for morning because our tempo is, the one thing we do try to do is do the forward momentum. So
yeah, I remember doing podcast, the initial podcast. Do you remember Jason Nash?
Yeah.
Do you remember Jay? He's still around. But you remember his podcast?
Guys with Feelings?
Guys with Feelings. I remember doing Jason Nash's podcast. This is got to be 2004, and I was doing it with radio tempo, and it would Jason was like, I remember Jason was like, it's great, you're doing great, but I feel like we don't know when to talk. And I was like, oh yeah, this is like radio. I'll just fucking rap.
Well, that's the thing. Also, as a comic, you when you go on some radio shows, you feel that pressure that they're going to step all over you and not let you say anything.
Yeah.
So you kind of sort of end up taking control. You pull like a Bobby Slayton or Adam Carolla or something, where you just sort of
fucking
do all the talking and
or what happens is, and the thing we don't like to do is just when you guys come on our show, it's. We're just going to talk. We don't need, we don't need the.
You don't say what jokes can we set you up for?
Right.
Like Byron Allen on Comics Unleashed. So you drive a vehicle?
Right.
Oh yeah, the other day
Bert, you've been in a fight. Yeah, Byron with a black guy. Let me tell you that story. You did not see that coming. He was like, what?
So Bert, you like circus food?
Wait, God damn it! I wish my brain was working right this morning.
I want to say something real quick while you think of your next thing. We were out at Hershey Park doing a remote, I want people to listen to it because it was so much fun, and they can just find that episode of Preston and Steve, and on iTunes where our shows are. If they're listening to this, they'll know how to get to that. And
guys, you want to go in, click subscribe.
Yeah, there you go.
But it was so funny because there's all these people gathered around the booth, and it was early in the morning at Hershey Park, and the roller coasters are going, and it's a super fun environment. But there's lots of kids around and stuff. Yeah. And they did a giveaway. They gave away tickets to the Stones or Rush or something, and the guy who won the tickets on the phone, loud enough for everyone standing around here, goes, "Oh my fucking God!" Just screams it. It was so, and they hit the dump button for the broadcast.
Yeah.
But what happens? And it'll be dumped on the podcast too, because that's too much trouble to go through and take the dumps out.
They just do it on
undump it.
Yeah.
Undump it.
Yeah. So when you listen to it, that's what that guy said.
But you just pegged, Doug. The main reason we're really good, so we rarely ever have, is that we slip. It's when you have someone, the genuine excitement. The dude won a 4-pack of Stones tickets.
Yeah.
Everyone chuckled. Even our boss is there. It's like, listen, the guy was ecstatic. It wasn't like he was.
Yeah, everyone was real nice about it. I remember the days like when I was younger and calling in to radio stations and trying to win and stuff, how like the DJs would get they get agitated with people swearing. They'd really like chew people out for it. And it's just
I got chewed out by Mancow.
What'd you say on his show?
Nothing.
The first time you said I'm buddies with Cowhead, I was like, you're buddies with that guy? Because I thought you meant Mancow.
No. I said,
I don't see you guys getting along so great.
Is Cowhead is? I assume that's a.
His real name is Mike Calta.
Okay.
Mike Calta. He's got a big head. He used to work for Bubba the Love Sponge. I think.
Okay.
Bubba called him Cowhead.
Oh, I do know him. Yeah, now I do know him. Yeah.
He's down in Tampa.
Yeah.
He was the first guy to ever. I did stand up. I was on the road and I was featuring, and he reached out. He went on his air. He was like doing sports talk radio.
Right.
Nothing about sports, but he wanted to show. And he said, I saw this guy last night on stage. He was my favorite guy I've ever seen do stand up. I want to get to know him. And my dad's oldest secretary was listening and called in and then gave him my number. It was
That's
like,
cool.
his name's Bert. I work for his dad. Call him. And I was taking Leanne to the dentist. And Leanne has a fear of dentists, like real bad.
Right.
And I was supposed to be, and they call and they're like, you're on the air. And I was like, oh, babe. I was young. I was like, hey. And then I became friends with him, and I've been friends with him ever since. And now it's paid off in spades because he's got the biggest show in Tampa.
Awesome.
What'd you do to Mancow?
I said something, and
Great story.
I said something, and he first
gets
of all,
better.
it's well, you know, it's no,
said
like,
another
I'm not
thing.
shitting on Mancow, but anyone that has done any comic that's done his show knows, and he knows exactly what he does. Everyone's mics are off.
Yeah,
So-
he doesn't let you talk.
Yeah, and so
he'll like give you a snippet. He'll give you a moment, you're a drop.
Yeah,
Is that right?
my mic was.
I didn't
all-
know. So
Yeah, he's got all
All
these
mics
noise.
off.
He's got
So
all
his
these.
mic off.
There's all these noises and music. Like I've done it like twice, and he's got like bong hit sounds going the whole time, and silly pot songs and stuff. And it's just like
I will
settle down.
I will say this: if anyone is listening and wants to, it's not drama. This is my critique to Mancow. Mancow, it's really difficult to do your show because when I start speaking, no one can hear that. So you're missing my first few words of my sentence until he realizes I'm speaking and turns my mic up.
Oh yeah, have you ever done it over the phone? I did a phoner with him. I'm like, what am I even listening to? What's happening?
I didn't speak. I swear to God. I felt like I was
just like laughing at things he was saying and noises he was making.
His show's great. Everyone loves it, and you do well enough for his audience likes the way he does it.
Sure.
But it's really difficult to do as a comic because you go to say something. So I got dumped on something that he didn't even. My audio wasn't even up, and then I think I said. I want to say I said like maybe I said dildo. I don't know.
dildo's not.
don't
Dildo
think-
wouldn't fly.
Not, and he was like, well, the difference was, and I was empathetic towards this. He was paying for all his own fines.
Oh.
so he was
Well,
like,
that's not good.
Yeah, and so I'm sure if you have a $200,000 bounty on your head, you're like, hey, asshole,
Right, yeah.
let's keep it G-rated. So
Yeah, and you should have said I said Bilbo. It was a
Bilbo.
Lord of the Rings
But
reference.
It was funny because I did his show and then I got done. I didn't really do well, I thought.
Yeah.
And then we all hung out after the show, and I told him about I started telling stories, and he was like, "Why didn't you tell this on the show?" I was like, "I wasn't allowed to talk."
Yeah, how can you tell a whole story?
Yeah, that was a tough. It's a very different show than your show. Your show is like extremely user friendly to comics. You come in, no one like I've never and like I came in the first time I came in, I was completely unknown to you guys.
Yeah.
And you guys, I think, welcomed me back for the next day. But you guys, there was no like, who's this guy? Like that energy is.
Do you know what the mindset is? And it goes back all the way. And I was just watching a documentary on him, and I always reference Carson. Carson's deal is, man, come on in. You remember, like, when they used to panel, shine, man, because in Carson's mindset was, if someone comes in and tears it up, and we want to give you a platform to tear it up, every day, later on that day, people say, "Did you hear the Preston and Steve show? Did you see Carson last?" It only benefits, and if we can have a good symbiotic trade-off, terrific.
Yeah.
I mean, but the casual thing, it's something we had to work up to, but we're not beholden to any hard breaks. We can take it as long as we want. We can go 45.
Yeah, that's the other
50
thing
minutes.
is I always felt like how long is this going to go on? Because I'm like waiting for someone to go wrap it up.
No, yeah, I mean, we can get a nice chunky break. There is basically what happens. Just as long as the spots of the purchase get in within the hour that they've been promised. We have to obviously want to make sure that the clients are paying for the whole thing. And you want to make sure that you treat them properly. But if the entertainment's good, and it's I mean, the Courtney Love thing, you were in the studio just recently for that, and that was. She went on and on.
Oh, people can go listen to that one too.
Yeah,
Courtney
there was
Love.
no way we were going to stop that.
Oh, that was
And
great.
honestly, because he's like, but the thing is that we could say I legitimately was a fan of some of the stuff, but she's been difficult. But there are some shows I know that just like to just target and just fucking. They're going to tear it up. They're going to just absolutely eviscerate the person. So you get 6 minutes before they storm out, or you sort of work with it and see what you can get. And she had some pretty damn good stuff.
Yeah.
Especially about how she got the role in People versus Larry Flint. About she had been on heroin. Was doing everything, and she got off it for the movie because she was auditioning for us.
And they gave her a handler not to fuck around.
and what did she play
paid
in the
them
movie?
off. She paid them off so that she could fuck Ed Norton.
Yeah,
It was a great interview. You gotta get it. Go get it, guys. At President Steve.
It was pretty wild. So
I'm drinking more coffee.
no problem.
Oh, good idea.
What was that? God damn it! I wish I. fuck. See, that's the beauty of a podcast.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really user-friendly about your show, which I've never really witnessed anywhere else, is all your names are on the mics.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
it so fucking easy.
Preston
because
came
you
up
feel
with
like
that.
you're part of the family. That's so smart.
It's a lot to ask someone to come into the studio, and here's a 5-person cast. Remember all our names now.
Yeah.
So Preston came up with the idea, and let me tell you, it's been, especially when you have someone who's a pretty heavy celebrity come in, and they're calling you by the first name. It's good. Well, it doesn't matter whether they remembered it or not. It sounds like they did, and that's all you want, you know. But it's good. I'm glad you said that because we could get a lot of good response from comedians.
It's a fun show to do. I mean, it's one of the few that I still do. I don't really get out of bed and go to radio anymore at all.
There's not much. There's not radio. Oddly enough, I'm a really big fan of radio. Of all the, like, I will sit online and just Google radio drama, radio gossip, old radio interviews. I love that shit.
It's great. And what do you think? What catches your fancy about it? What do you find the most intriguing about radio?
About radio, oddly enough, like one of my thing I will listen to all the time. I will listen to this almost, I say once a month because I always go back to it. Is the day Ron Bennington and Ron Diaz from Ron and Ron in Tampa broke up on the air.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I listen to that. I like those ones that are either that or like amazing interviews. I listened to Daniel Tosh did some small podunk radio station, and he took it over, and he destroyed. I love like good stuff like that. I listen to some old O&A stuff with Patrice when Patrice or like Louis is in the studio.
Patrice was great.
Yeah, Patrice was the fucking best.
I mean, we had him on our show a number of times, and there was a guy who would come in and he would. He would just lay it bare, and he was not. I mean,
he's great at just like he can sit there and throw insults at like absolute strangers.
Yeah,
and yet he would, and we were like,
that's always fun though. To be insulted by him.
Come on, he would start. He was giving us some crap, but they come in and maybe it was the first time you came in, Bert, or as you, Doug, as well. Everyone's like, there's sort of that pirouette around each other. What are these guys going to be douchebags, or are they? What are they going to want? And then you find that common ground, and it works. But I mean, we're always fighting a sort of a Sisyphus boulder up the mountain battle against experiences that other people have had at other shows. So, like, if you get
they come in with a chip on their shoulder, like
here we go.
Yeah, because my thing, you guys, you were probably familiar enough with my career that you were able to talk to me and make me feel comfortable. But like a lot of times when you go on morning shows, you could see them looking at your IMDb page 2 seconds before the interview starts, just to get something to talk to you about because they have no idea who you are.
Bert, I loved you on Last Comic Standing, and I was like, I was on 2 episodes, and I got kicked off. I didn't make it to the finals. Like, if you remember me on Last Comic Standing, you produced it. Like,
or they're thinking of the other that parody show you did on Comedy Central.
Yeah. It's interesting
because that's the other thing people would say to me all the time. They still do. I voted for you on Last Comic Standing, and I don't say to them, "You're a liar" or "You're remembering it wrong," because they couldn't vote for me. I didn't make it to the point where America started voting. I got kicked out in 6th place.
You know what I get?
But they're just being nice when they say that.
They're trying to.
I voted for you.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. I mutter as I walk away.
but still, you at least they're sort of extending a.
Yeah, they're friendly about it.
Trying to be friendly about it.
You were saying the other day we were talking because one of the other things I'm obsessed about is radio beefs.
Yeah.
Like that's like that one of the things that I can get into and I'll watch. But it's so interesting because I'm sure that a lot of the radio stations I do have beefs with each other, but I am so oblivious to it because I'm afraid to go in and be like I don't want to be one of their boys or one of their. You know what I mean?
You know what happens? It's and it's funny because people will try to get it going and they'll think it's the days of when Howard was when Howard like came into Philly and John DeBella, who's a great guy by the way.
I brought this up. Have you ever heard this? The John DeBella Howard Stern.
I think so, but tell it anyway.
It was one of the classic battle royals. So something that later, from what I understand, really troubled Howard as far as the way that he was interacting with John. John's a great guy, and I certainly grew up listening to and loving Howard, and he created a kind of radio that a lot of people, including our show, benefits from. But those battles, I think, were born more of the fact that those in those days you had a couple of network channels. And shows like MASH and Cheers could get 70 shares and 80 shares. And it was sort of the same with radio, and like the days of huge contentious battles between shows just doesn't exist, because right now everyone's battle is really with the iPod and with all sorts of other
everything's it's such a niche audience too that it's like it's not. Yeah. Each person's kind of their thing that they would like is out there, and they can find it and have it.
It's like, I wish you would. Well, dude, it's right there. You just go do a search, and you can listen. You can listen to Puppy Radio. Go get it.
I just heard. Oh, did you hear that same exact podcast? There's a
pupcast.
There's Catcast.
Catcast.
Which Mark Maron started, and then Brian Redband goes, "I had a Catcast with Joey Diaz." I'm like, "What are the odds? Two people have fucking
podcasts." Yeah,
podcasts. Yeah, that's it. And then on NPR, they told a story about a guy who started a whole TV channel about puppies, and it was this idea that he had, but it didn't get off the ground. The John DeBella stuff was fascinating to me because I'm Googling old radio beefs or watching listening to shit, and it said something about Howard and John DeBella, and I went, I know John DeBella. I do his show when I go into Philly, and I was
I've done it too.
And I was like, it was next level, insane, and I so badly wanted to bring it up to him and ask him on air, because that's the kind of radio I want to do. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear that story, but then apparently it was
he actually was and hopped over, and Howard had asked him to go over and do some stuff for. There was a sort of an on-air history of Howard, and John graciously went and did, and I think that really, from what I understand, I'm speaking from what I've just heard, but that it touched Howard a great deal, because there was a high level of viciousness and and stuff going back and forth, and it's just weird, because at that point people get passionate about things, but now there's just such a glut of entertainment that speaks to whatever you want. That's why, honestly, with us and on a terrestrial level, and it's what MMR, our station does, live and local. We're about this area, and the whole mindset, and what actually spurred that on with that whole fight years ago, or that whole battle, was the syndication was the big thing. You'd be syndicated, and you'd be in major markets. And now when a show's syndicated, unless there are very few examples I can even think of out there. If they're syndicated, they're syndicated to fourth level, fifth level markets, and it's more just a cost saving thing, because what has done that is streaming.
Yeah.
You can listen to our show from around the world. And in-dash streaming capability in the car is right here.
If I'm up early in L.A. or late, as the case is sometimes, I'll just go on, WMMR.com or whatever, and just hit the listen live thing, and also you've got the hottie cam, so you can you can click on that, and it's kind of cool to see at least part of the studio, something that's going on. There's always cute girls holding up signs,
like listening to your friends kind of talk, and you're like,
well, I'll listen, especially if I know that, if I know you or Todd Glass or somebody's going to be on. It's fun to listen and to text. I was texting you trying to get you to say stuff.
I said hi to Courtney Love.
She had no idea who it was.
She goes, yeah. Really interesting, because as soon as I said, "Hey, Doug Benson says hi," she got really close to my face, and I hadn't brushed my teeth yet, and I was like backing off, trying not to let her smell my whiskey on my breath. And she was like, grab me by the cheek. She goes, Doug Benson. How do I know him? And I said, Super High Me. She goes, Doug, I know. What does he play? I said, a microphone, just comedy.
Yeah.
She was like, Doug, do I know
she
him?
just didn't know what universe this name is coming from, but she. She approached me one time. That's why I said say hi to her, because she's spoken to me and spoken to me by name.
Really?
But she's been through a lot.
Early in the morning.
And it was early in the morning. But if I was sitting there, maybe she would have put it together. But she came up to me in a bar and was kind of gave me a hard time for something that she's thought I said on VH1, back in the Best Week Ever days. I probably said, I had a standard joke I used about a lot of recording artists that had problems. I would say, hey, did you hear Courtney Love's getting back together? And so it might have been something like that.
That's a great fucking joke. Did you hear Courtney Love's
Well, yeah,
that's a great fucking.
well, it was also Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots and Britney Spears. I got to say it about her for a while. I'm waiting for the next one to come along.
It's wild because when you'll have people like that. I'm sure you guys have. You have your shows. Who would you consider a get? Who would you, Bert?
My God.
Who would be just? I can't fucking believe that he or she is here on my podcast. Because everyone has one. I know mine, right?
I probably.
Well, I try not to think about it because I like that I have the people that I do have, and and there's always new crazy things that happen.
Yeah.
You have someone though.
I run into that
I
problem
think so.
too because I'm afraid. Like I'm afraid that I'd get someone like I would love to talk to Chris Rock. I guess.
Yeah.
But only because. Like, I got Bobby Flay, and I was like, holy shit, this is like the first time I'm getting like a straight-up celebrity. What I find is that I also then get nervous around them. So it's not the casual conversation.
Right, and you're not going to be you're going to be silly in a weird way as opposed to just a regular Bert way.
I calmed down with Bobby, and I was fine talking to him, and I was like, okay, I guess I can do that. I would love to talk to Chris Rock, I guess. I would love to talk to the... I think that's it, really.
I love that mine's not one-on-one because
Right.
that would be hard for me to do with
You don't
some
think you
people.
do that? I think you could. I think you have the wherewithal. You're probably more comfortable in the dynamic of the panel the way you have it. But
and it's easier to just kind of let things happen and then swoop in and move the show forward. Where it's just you back and forth with somebody. You got to be ready with your next question,
Right.
and that aspect of interviewing doesn't appeal to me.
What I learned to do though.
Wait, can I tell you real quick?
Yeah,
Chris Rock's a horrible idea because Priscilla's never seen a black person, and that would be a fucking nightmare if she didn't like black people, and that's how it started off.
It's
your
your
dog's fucking
protected gated
racist.
community.
Priscilla's never seen anything but
What,
like
did you buy
white
a
people
white
and a couple
dog?
Asians. Yeah, well, dogs are colorblind, so when they see a different.
Oh, okay.
I'm making this up.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Do you know there are such things as white dogs? You know that dogs that are trained to attack. It used to be quite a common thing.
Really?
In the South, they were trained.
They tend to attack white dogs, white
Black
people.
people, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
black people. Yeah.
I was
yeah.
just wondering if perhaps you.
No.
There's a
but
whole
it is
movie
bull
about it, right?
mastiff.
Like called White Dog or something.
Seriously?
There's a
I think
movie,
so,
yes.
yeah.
It's about a white. That's exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
No,
and they had trouble releasing it. I think there was issues putting it out.
Yeah,
because
it's like
it was,
the canine
it was
American.
pretty
history.
harsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's easy to train them not to like a certain race. I just she's big and she looks scary, and so everyone that if you aren't
You
comfortable,
could put that dog in another room, couldn't you?
Oh, Chris Rock is walking through the fucking through the driveway in a heartbeat.
Yes, if you're-
Priscilla's going to go into the groomers for the day.
right.
You'll even get the squirrels out of there in case Chris Rock has squirrel issues.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, you don't know.
I might go to his house. Wait, okay, go back. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go back. What would be your get?
Oh, you know what? For the longest time, it would have been Steve Jobs. It would still be. I could still have.
Oh, I didn't know we could go there.
Bill Gates, but right now it'd be Clint Eastwood.
Oh yeah.
I think Clint Eastwood has. Clint Eastwood and Nicholson, Jack Nicholson. You're talking storied Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, Clint Eastwood had started in D-level movies. Longevity of the career, was the mayor of Carmel for a long time. He's had the history, and then he's a revered director now, and jazz, and he's got all this crap going on. But he also seems like a dude who gets it. He gets himself.
Yeah.
When someone comes in, to me, one of the best qualities someone can possibly have is the ability to be self-deprecating. To me, that is a complete. Okay, let's go.
But do you really need him coming in there and talking to all the empty chairs in the room?
Yeah, well, I know that moment, but you got to figure just the history,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs would have been at Bill Gates. If you're talking those two guys, you're talking guys who basically changed the world, and in both cases, pretty much out of their garages with what they started.
Yeah.
Jobs is going to be a harder get at this point, but you know what I'm saying. That those are people, and you talk about that nervousness thing. I have to say that that has. You get nervous because you don't want, if you're a fan, you don't want them to be a dick, and because don't fuck this up. But the amount of prep that you do, I think makes the difference.
I do no prep.
If you just know them backwards and forwards as much as you can, then you're gonna,
You were prepared for Courtney Love.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I remember sometimes you go in those things and it's like a group interview and everyone interviews, and I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, I should think of a question to ask Courtney Love. And then you were like, fucking on it. And I was like, oh, shit. I guess. And then all I could do is when you'd ask a question and she'd answer it, I could think of the worst question to then ask her.
Right.
He said, so what now? She goes, well, I'm writing a book. And my next question was, fiction or nonfiction?
Right, yeah. Coloring? Yeah.
And then also anytime she had a fucking, like a horror, like I was so I.
Do you know what happens though? And it's something that you have to learn. And you watch the people who do a great job of it in the interviewing process. It's either an interrogation or a conversation. And if you're on the phone, they tend to be more like 10 questions.
Yeah.
If they're in the studio, it's a conversation. She said something about writing a book. Well, I want to hear more about this book. Flesh it out.
That's funny. You know how my brain works? Oh, I'm writing a book too. Let me tell you about my book.
Right.
Did you talk at all during her interview?
Yeah. He was in fact, he was
because that's I love when every once in a while you get lucky and you're just in studio somewhere on a show like that and somebody awesome comes in and I always try to force myself in there at some point.
Yeah, I definitely jumped in.
But I've been on shows where the host will go, don't talk during, don't say anything during this whole segment, and I'm just like, well, I gotta sit here and not say anything. What's the point?
That to me, if you were a fan, hang out, and participate. It's for Christ's sake. It's not as if you haven't conducted an interview of your own.
Yeah,
I was on Corolla once, and when we had the morning radio show, and J.J. Abrams called in to talk about Cloverfield. And I saw Cloverfield the night before, but I saw it. I was one of those things where I probably shouldn't even have gone, but I wanted to see it before, having this conversation with J.J. Abrams. But I went hungover, like really hungover, like probably one of the worst hangovers of my life. And that movie is all steady, it's all handheld.
Yeah.
It's all T.J. Miller's characters filming everything. And
wait, T.J. Miller's in fucking
Cloverfield, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's the character who's holding the camera, so you just hear him a lot. You don't see him. You don't see him unless he catches a mirror or something.
Okay.
In a couple of scenes, you see him in the early going, I think.
By the way, I love that movie.
I've never seen it.
But it was like I've never gone back to it because it was such a miserable experience. Like watching that movie, it was at the beautiful, huge theater, the Paramount lot, and the sound was really loud, and I just I felt like I was going to throw up the entire time, and so I probably shouldn't have said that to J.J. Abrams the next day. I was like, all that handheld camera work made me sick. I was too hungover. Yeah, and he's like, oh great, well I'm calling in to promote that it opens today, asshole. But I was just trying to be honest, but also thought it might be funny to talk about it. But he sort of shut that down pretty fast.
I didn't realize what a wonder boy he was. I read something about him online. They're saying that he was the fucking man. Like he was the man for everything.
Oh yeah,
like he was the go-to. They'd hired this kid. I guess he's I don't know. I picture him looking like Tom Cruise. I don't know what he looks like, but
J.J. Abrams, not Tom Cruise.
No, he's got glasses and he looks like he could be
think of
an executive or a director or whatever.
If there was a show called Young Eraserhead, he has got that kind of, his hair goes up.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
But he's really really entertaining fellow. Like he's really smart and can talk about anything. That speaking of Getz, he'd be great on Douglas movies.
We've had him on, and he's a pop culture dude. He knows his stuff. He also converses, knows how to sell it. And it's you love people who love to talk about whatever they're working in. They don't seem bothered by it.
It's something I was told to me by the president of Travel Channel when I first started working at Travel Channel. She said, when you go out and you interview these people, seek out the passionate people.
Yeah.
Your job will be so much easier. And it's true. Anyone that has passion about, I like to interview Malcolm Gladwell, the guy who wrote he wrote all those books, What the Dog Saw, and he's an economist, and apparently I'm an economist too, because I love when stats prove a point.
I've never read any, but I'm familiar.
Oh
with the
my
name,
God, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with him. He was like the one that really changed. I was like the beginning of it, and he was explaining the factor that people succeed by sometimes just where they live, and that Bill Gates just happened to live blocks away from the only place in the entire Northwest that you could find computers to work on, and he just happened to live so that's why he became, not why he also had talent, but it's like the same reason why like 80% of the professional hockey players are born in January and February and March.
So it's all
statistics
and
why are they all born then?
Because in Canada, that's the cutoff period.
It's the law.
It's the cutoff period for age groups. So if you are in the 13-year-old, you're playing in the 13-year-old, whatchamacallit, if you are born in January, then you do that year. But if you're born in December, you go back and you play with the bigger kids who are also. It's like I'm not describing
It sounds
this
like
very
a hockey Logan's Run.
Social Darwinism.
So yeah, it's based on like so the cutoff age for playing for leagues is in January.
Wow.
So January 1st. So if you're born January 1st, you happen to be the oldest child in that league.
That's wild.
Yeah. So then the majority.
So you're older and you're bigger and you're more.
You're older, you're bigger,
skilled.
and what they do is they find the people that they put in the club sports. They go to that league and they find the best kids in that league. So they're simply going to get the oldest kids out of that league. 'Cause that's who usually are going to be the best or the biggest. So then it turns out that the majority of hockey players. I did a horrible job of explaining that, but
I kind of.
I followed it sort of.
So but yeah, so I love those kind of statistics. Like he was talking about how crime rates raised in like the late 70s and 80s because abortion was outlawed. Like they stopped allowing abortions, and when abortions were around, the kids that we don't want in society were not born. Like once again, do not listen to anything I'm fucking saying.
What a statement you just made.
I know, but that's one in his earlier book. He was saying that once they stopped allowing abortions, that
once they stopped or started.
I don't know. God damn it! I should. This is why I don't fucking.
Okay.
Do not listen to anything I'm saying. I kind of read this.
Yeah, don't listen to this podcast.
Don't listen to this podcast.
Rent the movie White Dog. It'll tell you everything.
Someone will tweet me the thing and I'll retweet it. Whatever the fuck.
But I kind of get what you. I do like that stat stuff. You know, I mean, I do find it intriguing. Though I don't have what you'd call a mathematical mind at all. So
I don't. But I'm a hardcore economist. I'd like to talk to. I'm excited about talking to W. Kamau Bell.
Talking to him?
Just talking to him. Yeah, like I'd love to have him on my podcast, but it would be a hard fit because I think he's in New York and I'm never in New York. But I would love to have him on my podcast.
You're never in New York. What's that about?
If I'm in New York, I'm in and out. I'm like literally, like I don't hang out.
You could get him to your hotel room, probably.
Yeah, I would love to talk to. I'm excited to talk to him because I love guys that are have an opinion about stuff like race. I love talking about race. I don't talk about it on stage anymore. But I love like a good open conversation about race. I love it.
What happens is that, and I see it happen more and more, is that people, because of Twitter and because of social networking, they I have a soapbox and people want to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
And the one truth of the matter is, no, they don't. Not unless you're known for that. Not unless that's what people come to you for.
Yeah.
If that's what you made your mark, it's that if your opinion and your opinion on things political or race got you to the dance, then that's what people want to hear about.
Yeah.
But the thing that drives me crazy on our show, and I have my political take on things, but I don't. People are not coming to our show for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's always volatile.
Yeah.
We see it happen all the time where people think. I'm not saying this is your case.
No.
I'm saying it can be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
You know?
I just simply stopped altogether because I was like, I don't know if I really have a horse in this race. Like I was doing it because I was young and I wanted to be edgy.
But do you have a dog in the hunt?
I have a dog in the hunt, definitely. But I love picking like a guy like Kamau Bell's mind about subjects. I'm dying to talk to him about all this stuff.
Are you a
going on
political person?
Nope, not at all. No, but I don't know. When I was young, I was just trying to be edgy. I think is all it was. And then now I'm older. I'm like, I don't even mention race once. I think in my act, I talk about my kids and.
You don't talk about how tough it was growing up black and all that stuff.
Yeah. No one wants to hear fucking overprivileged white boys say anything these days.
Yeah, just talk about your black kids.
Yeah. I'm gonna adopt one maybe just so I can have some life experience.
Right. Spielberg did it.
Did he really?
Yes. Yeah.
Seriously?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
I think he's got a couple different ones, right?
Jolie had a double mastectomy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did.
What does that mean? That her boobs are cut off?
No, well, they were removed, and she had reconstructive surgery done almost immediately afterwards. She has the genetic predisposition for breast cancer, cervical cancer. In fact, I think her sister or her aunt died. Her mother died of it. Her aunt died of it recently as well, breast cancer. And I think her mom might.
Yeah, and she was just basically heading it off at the pass. Like it wasn't like they said you have cancer. They said there's a chance, 90% chance or something that you'll get it eventually.
So she went from I heard 80, but she went from 80% chance now to about 5%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Would you have your balls cut off?
If it was cancer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. If I'm I still got my Blu-ray player. I'm happy.
Do you? Wait, so but if you don't have balls, what does that? That means you can't have sex anymore?
Well, you'd be
or you can't have babies.
A eunuch?
No.
Could you still get an erection without balls?
I believe you
Eunuchs
can.
Eunuchs no. Yeah, no. Eunuchs no dick.
Eunuchs? No. Like a eunuch in the days of yore. It was my understanding they were simply. They weren't. You're saying a eunuch was
They
completely
cut the dicks
emasculated?
off in Game of Thrones. Spoiler alert!
Wow.
That guy that has no dick. No, not spoiler alert. Not. God damn it! Now I actually did give a spoiler alert. But the priest that has no dick. God damn it!
Okay. Well, they when in the Roman Empire they wanted they wanted to have sex with guys who were incapable of procreating. Where would they turn, Bert?
You know what came up? UNICEF.
Yeah. Wow. So that's what I was collecting for on Halloween?
Oh, my God. Did you know that I must have spelt this wrong?
UNICEF.
Eunuch was a French car manufacturer.
Peugeot.
They called their car the Eunuch. I must have spelled that wrong.
I think so.
What kind of car is it? It's a Eunuch. It's not that powerful. It's
No stick shift.
It really have a really hard time merging.
So
How do you
eunuch.
spell eunuch?
EUNOCH, I think.
E-O?
UNIC.
Eunuch. 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 A eunuch
Yeah.
is a man who has been castrated. Castration is the dick.
Is it completely?
I thought,
Okay.
I thought your
picture.
balls were castrated.
I thought your balls. In other words, who knows? Where?
Let's forget
where's my
what. Don't
urologist?
worry about what it's called. Let's just do it.
Let's just castrated before puberty. That's a eunuch. You got to be castrated before puberty, so you have none of the hormones that go into you.
Right, but that shouldn't involve removing of the entire genitalia. I thought the testicles took care of that action.
Yeah, the testicles do, but I wonder what is it called when you cut? I think
You get a price reduction if you take the whole plan.
the castration is the act of surgically or chemically removing the male testes, just the testes.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. Yep, just testes.
All right.
So yeah, I don't know what. Like, if you took off both my balls, I'm a eunuch then? So Lance Armstrong is one nut away from being a eunuch?
Yes.
Shut the fuck! I bet that's a sore subject with him, with his ego.
Well, you know what? He still got one, and he was still getting some, as they say in the vernacular, primo trim after.
I don't think I'd have two nudicles. Is that what they called?
Nudicles? Like
I'd have
they do with the
nudicles.
dog? Yeah, nudicles.
I'd have nudicles put in. I don't really need my balls.
Do you need an aesthetic sort of look down there? I mean,
Yeah, I definitely don't want an empty coin purse.
Really? Yeah,
like a pauper in the 1800s. Spare change, please.
Do women know? That looks spectacular. Where's my phone? I got to take a picture.
I wouldn't want my wife to play with my balls the way she plays with my earlobes, just pinching it.
All right.
I'd definitely want balls. I'd want something in there.
Yeah.
Now's the question: would you want big balls or small balls?
I like mine.
I'd just fill it with confetti.
I'd put 3 in there just to
Wow.
surprise people. Wait, what the?
I've never had so much fun during an orgasm.
To surprise people. How many people are going to figure out you have 3?
I would put in one object that people had to try to guess what it is, and they're like, "Wait, what is that?"
Right.
And they're like, "Is that an iPod charger?" You got it.
And they win something. You've been wonderful today, and here's a case.
I apologize to any eunuchs that are listening to this, and if it seems like we're making light of whatever you've gone through, I apologize.
But we sort of are.
But the question is, I heard Angelina Jolie got a double. I'm not speaking right.
Double
I heard
mastectomy? Yeah.
double mastectomy, and I was like, I can start drinking now, Doug. I don't need to be sober for your show.
Oh, that's true.
Not that I can. Their beers are warm. They're over there.
Oh.
I Googled double mastectomy, and I was like, holy shit, that's an aggressive.
Well, you know who did likewise? She had cancer, though. It had formed, was Christina Applegate. She had had it, and then she had both breasts removed just as a preventative. And she looks fantastic. She looks, you imagine though making that choice. I mean, your choice comes down to, do I want to have a greater chance of living, or do I really want to walk this along and dance on the fence here?
Yeah, and they just do. They do it for their children,
Yeah.
more than anybody.
Yeah, take
you
them
know?
off. Get rid of my nuts. Get rid. I've never had to deal with any fucking adversity in my life. So all my insights come from that of like some fucking prince taking a ship across. Like, kill all the Indians. I don't care. Like, I don't have any real fucking adversity. But get rid of my fucking nuts. Take my tits off.
That's wild, though. It's, in a way, you're able to connect your balls to the genocide of the Indians. I thought that's pretty good.
Yeah, I meant to do that on purpose. No, I'm just obsessed with Game of Thrones and hardcore history by fucking Dan Carlin.
Are you as much of a pop culture geek as Doug is?
I am the most uninformed dude about anything. The first time I ever did
Game of Thrones, you mentioned many times.
I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones.
So you're locked on one, but you're not across the boards,
No.
sponging up everything.
No, I find the things I like.
Did you read Game of Thrones?
It was a book.
Oh, I'm going to murder you. Because that's the funny thing to me is that the some things are different from the book, I guess, but it's not like Walking Dead where they've really changed a lot of stuff. So like the Red Wedding, it's so funny how bummed out everybody got by it because everybody should have seen it coming.
Wait, hold on.
How are you? Are you behind on Game of Thrones?
No, I'm not. But how do
Spoiler
they write the book? Do they have to wait until that Sunday?
The books were already. There's a
I'm
whole
joking.
series.
I'm joking. Right now, someone's in their car going, "This guy's a fucking moron." No. What was the Red Wedding? That was.
When all those bunch of characters got slaughtered.
Okay. Oh yeah. What was the difference?
There was no difference, but I'm saying everyone was kind of shocked and surprised by it. Like the biggest shock was how graphic it was. Like the actual stabbing of the baby in the woman's stomach.
Yeah.
I walked out of the room. I was watching the show. I don't love it, because I.
Do you watch it with people?
That'd be more fun to watch it with people.
That's one of my guests. I want to watch Game of Thrones with Steve Agee because
it's a little slow and complex for my taste. I can't.
So you're not a hardcore Game of Thrones fan.
No, but I was watching in my hotel room the night of the Red Wedding episode, and I got bored and walked out of the room, and like seconds before the shit went down, and I would have loved that part, but I missed it and had to catch up to it later.
I'm going to have to binge watch it. I just sometimes when so many people get into something quickly, it's like and they're telling you about it, and it's like,
sometimes the ship sails for me. Like I just never got into Mad Men.
Yeah,
and whenever I watch it, I enjoy it, but I just for some reason it's just not a show that it doesn't speak to me like in a way that like I have to see every Breaking Bad and I have to see every.
I've never
Walking
seen any Breaking
Dead.
Bad. I saw Walking Dead. I got into it, and then I fell apart. I fell off the map because I couldn't find it.
Graphic novels. Those are based on and the
and those have wildly divergent storylines. Like characters get killed that live in the books and vice versa.
I tell you what, though, let me see if you agree with this. I think a lot of what they've done for the series has been an improvement on the story, which I thought was great to begin with.
Are you talking about
not necessarily improvement, but certainly like it's just interesting that you can't count on anything. It's like if there were Sopranos comic books and you knew that Tony was going to survive the whole series or whatever. Like that's the thing that's so crazy about Walking Dead and a few other shows right now is that they'll really. I love the show Justified. Do you watch that?
Justified's a great show.
It's so good, and they'll have like a great character actor come on.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And their part is that they're just there to get killed, like in a few scenes later.
Right.
What's the one on Showtime? Banshee.
I haven't
seen it yet. It's on.
Banshee.
Isn't it on? I think it's on. Not Encore.
Oh, is it?
Or Stars or something?
Oh, it might be on Stars, yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's on Showtime.
We did that show. I did the Benson interruption the other night, and when you do it, you're at Nerdist Meltdown. What's the name of the place?
Meltdown Comics.
Meltdown Comics.
And the Nerd Melt
Theater.
is the name of the theater. Yeah.
Okay, and so I'd done. I'd done the few times we're there. I'm just there to do a show, and I walked around and I was like, I got comic books. My kids like reading. I did a podcast with Doug about eating with Karen, and when I was there, I was like, I'm gonna get the girls some comic books. So I got some comic books for the girls, and I brought them back, and my daughters fucking loved them. And I was like, how cool. I have this at my facility. I'm going to be here every now and then to do podcasts or shows. I'm going to always grab them a bunch of comic books. They're $2 a comic book.
Yeah.
The girls will fucking love them. So I go to Doug's Benson Interruption, and I buy Kevin Keller. Do you know what that is?
Not familiar.
It's the Archie's characters. And I was like, my kids will love
Wow.
Archie's. So I buy him Kevin Keller. Kevin Keller
is the gay character.
Yep,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. My 9-year-old says to me from the couch,
Yeah.
Daddy, what's gay mean? And I was like, and she's reading Archie from the 20s.
And
so
you're
I
like,
go,
shut up, faggot.
I was like, it means happy. She goes, I don't think that's what it means.
Yeah.
And I go, maybe they mean it like it's lame. And they're like, still not.
Maybe those comic books I bought you were calling gay people lame.
No, I thought they were like, oh, that's so gay. Like that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And so I said, I don't know, baby. Use it in a sentence. She goes, Kevin's dad's worried his dad. Kevin's worried his dad won't love him when he finds out he's gay. And I went, oh, that means he sucks dick. I was like, how do I fucking tell this to a fucking 9-year-old?
Yeah. You didn't know. Well, the story. Actually, believe it or not, as it goes, those are. They're like they're award winning. They're being received very well. You know, hey, listen, it's actually smart of them to tailor to an audience that's out there, and do that. The thing I have an issue with is yes, by all means, gay characters absolutely fine, terrific. You know, let get the diversity out there. When they go though, when like DC or they say, hey, we're gonna make one of our characters gay, and then they pick the first Green Lantern. You know, that's such a we want press on this move.
Yeah.
You know, no. Batman
we're
gay.
just doing it to get attention.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
For a character that maybe slipping or
right.
Yeah.
hasn't had a good movie.
It's a specious move, you know, at best. So if you really have the conviction, step up and make someone really prominent. You know,
Yeah.
That's the deal. But don't. Hey, it's the it's the first Green Lantern. No.
Man of Steel is gay, right? That's the
Completely.
That's
the
the
whole
twist.
block and seat. Yes.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
He bends Perry
he
White
even
over the table.
and he has sex with his own dad, his adoptive
it's just
dad.
in me. Did you see it yet? Have you seen Man of Steel?
No, I haven't. I was boycotting it for a week
What?
to support the visual effects artists, and that, of course, didn't work. That movie's like made more money than anything.
How do you what do you mean boycott the visual effects artists?
Boycott the movie to support visual effects artists. There was this kind of a small campaign going that I was tried to contribute to on my podcast, where if you just wait 1 week, it's a way of like sending a message to the studios that the visual effects artists aren't being paid enough to make. They're doing all the work. They're doing all the heavy lifting. Like without visual effects artists, Man of Steel, it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what it is or whatever. And and you
telling me
stick
that's-
around for the credits. I'm sure there's thousands of names.
That script's not
what happens
strong
is
enough
you
to be
have-
a one-man show.
You have what you have is you have all these very competent competing effects houses. For example, the effects house that won for Life of Pi was Life of Pi.
Yeah.
They for whatever movie it was, but they had actually gone out of business while they were up on stage accepting the award.
Yeah, and they tried to talk about it, and they did that stupid thing they do on that show where the band started playing them off. The second
serious?
they started getting to the meat of their acceptance speech and saying what was wrong, and what's his name, Ang Lee, who's a great director, admittedly, and seems like a nice enough guy, in his acceptance speech for Best Director for Life of Pi, did not mention visual effects artists. And
Really?
the movie was shot on a green screen, like the whole movie is effects.
It's all effects.
In essence, does a director have any fucking finger in that pie?
Yes,
Or is-
yeah, and no pun intended. Yeah, there is.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, I stepped in that one. I must be like a prince
You
going
are
to conquer
really good,
natives.
yeah.
You put your finger in it.
But yes, they do, because I mean, the way things are storyboarded out. But Doug is right. I mean, you can know how you want something to look, but the effects in Man of Steel. I mean, the stuff is rendered to such a flawless level.
Yeah.
It's just astonishing. And there is a cacophonous 45-minute fucking Metropolis gets bitch slapped. It's like 10 9/11s.
Really?
And which kills me too at the end when they say he saved us. Because clearly there's hundreds
A
of
lot of
thousands
innocent
killed.
people died. Yeah, it's funny when they're at the end of the Avengers 2 when they're all, buildings are falling down and stuff. You never see anybody dying.
Yeah.
So it gets a PG-13.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like
Interesting.
all this horrible stuff is happening, you know, like that we're just not seeing.
I would love to watch a movie with you guys. I always get lost in movies.
Do you know what though? What you'd be surprised. That's for me is a critical, crucial part. I'm sure you'll agree with this, Doug. Is that you go in? It's got to be, and it used to be my thing. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You don't make a pee. I can't. I'll go to early matinees.
Yeah. I don't go to the fucking premiere night. I don't go when
be by myself.
I have to turn a movie off on my computer if people sitting next to me on the plane are talking. Like I get so distracted, and it's like I want to tell them to shush, but you can't because people aren't. People are allowed to talk to each other on a plane.
It's just you want to get. That's one of the pure thing. A real movie lover, you want to get lost in it. You want to just go and disconnect. And I
also sit close enough where the screen fills my entire line of vision. Like I don't like seeing the walls of the theater and the exit sign. And
oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, the exit signs are kind of hard to avoid. But, but like I just like to really get enveloped in the experience, if whenever possible.
Oh, geez, when we were kids, and this is drummed into us. My dad would we'd go to the theater, and the thing was, when the lights came down. You shut up. I mean,
my parents instilled that in me also.
Yeah.
And the thing was, people around you paid for these tickets, and you have to be respectful. So, with the second the lights dimmed, and it used to be the thing where we have our movie screenings. We're able to work it out. We can get movie screenings for the President Steve show, and it's our listeners. And the joke would be that if I was there, I'd punch you in the throat if you were talking because you can't ruin it for people. We're getting a screening before everyone else. But it's. But the fun was my original point was that you'd probably be surprised to learn that like I love crappy movies. I love great movies. I love culty movies, and I'm sure you're the same. Just something that step up and give me something different or weird or bizarre. Or it can even be it doesn't matter. The whole whole movie going experience itself is what I love.
Yeah, there is something actually like kind of neat about that. I went to my first movie alone when I was like 26. I'd never been to a movie alone, and I went alone, and I was nervous to sit by myself. The only other time I'd gone alone when I was a kid, I went to tennis camp, and I met all these kids. I didn't know any of them, and they invited me to go see the Karate Kid, and so I went to go see the Karate Kid, but my mom was late, so she dropped me off late, and I couldn't meet them outside the theater. So I was like, I'll just find them in the theater. So I go in, it's already dark. I'm like, fuck.
It sucks.
I have anxiety about being alone, and I just sit down. But I got lost in that movie. That movie, I don't care how old, that was a great fucking movie, and I identified with it because I was the new kid at tennis camp, and I didn't have any friends, and I'm meeting with these guys.
Macchio.
I was Ralph Macchio. So at the end, when he does the crane kick, spoiler alert, he does the crane kick and knocks kid out, I start bawling, crying. I'm fucking 10, I think. I'm bawling, crying. House lights come up, those dudes are sitting directly in front of me, and it scarred me for my life. They turn around and I'm crying, and they had heard me crying, and they were making fun of me they didn't know it was me, and then I turn around, and I'm like, ugh. So I had never gone to a movie alone. Next movie I went to alone was Titanic. And I was like
you
nervous.
went to go see Titanic by
That's
yourself?
traumatic.
Yeah, I saw it by myself, and I started crying again. So now if I go to a movie alone, I'm fucking crying. But The Rock, what was the one where he walking tall, sobbing?
Which one? Original or
with the Rock?
With The Rock.
Oh,
when he
I
drops
thought you were
his
at the movie
shirt,
The Rock,
and he goes, "They did this to me." I'm fucking sobbing. It's a Rock.
Well, you got to see the original. You got with
Really?
Bill Swenson and Leif Garrett.
Leif Garrett's in it?
Leif Garrett's the little boy. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
Bo
you're missing
Svensson.
a little piece of Americana.
That's a name.
Got it. Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody-
You don't
Nobody
remember Bo
knows anymore.
Swenson?
No.
Yeah, I totally remember that
Who's
dude.
Bo Swenson? I wanted my name to be Bo, and I was a kid, so
Svensson,
bad.
I think
Hey,
it
was
was.
it Bo Swenson?
Oh,
Was in
Swenson,
the
or
original? Was he the
Svensson.
original Walking
I
Tall?
thought it
Who
was
the
Burt
ori-
Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
Do a check on who was the male lead in the first Walking Tall. I thought it was Bo Swenson.
Maybe Joe Don Baker?
Joe Don Baker, you are the man. Yeah, Bo Swenson was in like the third Walking Tall.
Yeah.
Joe Don Baker.
I watch them all though, because there's nothing like a guy who comes to town and and they try to get him. The bad guys like their laws. They like to break the laws.
Yeah.
And they like things how they are, so they try to beat them down and drive them out.
I love those.
And when they ultimately triumph, it's really satisfying.
High Noon. It's the great. It's the whole. All right, I guess I have to do it because no one else will step up. It's a classic,
Yeah.
plot conceit, but it works. It suckers me in every time. That's why I was doing years ago, as I said, when I was doing stand-up, I was up in Rochester, New York, and there was nothing to do, and there was a multiplex right near the hotel.
Yeah.
And I went. It was the year Die Hard came out, and I walked over and I was like, "Holy fuck, this movie is!" I loved it. It saved me from going straight out of my friggin' mind.
Really?
Yeah. And then I proceeded to see every movie in the
Die Hard was kind of like when the trailers were playing, they showed the shot of John McClane shirtless jumping off the building with the fire hose wrapped around him, and he's not like the Bruce Willis that he became at that point. He's got like kind of a little bit of a gut on him.
Yeah.
and I remember like people, and he was just the guy from Moonlighting, and like so like I remember people laughing at the trailer and like thinking, oh, this movie looks terrible.
Yeah.
And then it came out, and it's one of the greatest action movies ever made. Like
Bruce
Hans
Willis.
Gruber is the best villain ever, in my opinion.
Alan Rickman is so good because he does that thing that a good villain, he's likable in a way.
You're kind of weird, strangely rooting for him, and it's funny, how he treats everybody. And the scene where he pretends to be somebody else when he first meets
So
McClane
great.
is he's
Oh my God! Don't shoot me.
yeah, don't I'm just an American.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. And then but you're right. But that movie that just had, and they actually specifically made sure to not show Willis too much in the trailer and the teasers because they were taking a gamble that he'd be a viable action star.
Really?
And then and that's all he's done. I just watched the recent one, the
In Russia?
Russia.
Good day to
A Good Day to Be Hard or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But the visually amazing. Listen, at home I'm fine. If I'm sitting there.
in a theater I was not fine. I was upset the entire time. Like this is what they're doing to the Die Hard movies.
But
because he says I'm on vacation 5 times and it wasn't funny the first time.
Yeah.
And he's not on vacation. he went there to find his son.
Yeah.
And he keeps yelling, "I'm on vacation." Why do you keep yelling that? Every time something
vacation.
explodes around him. I'm on vacation.
Don't hassle me. I'm on vacation.
visually though, they had some wild stuff.
Did they have I went to Russia and all I got was this T-shirt?
No.
Okay. Bruce Willis, it's interesting because he kind of defined who I wanted to be as a kid. Like when I saw Moonlighting, and I'm not saying that I've fashioned my life perfectly like this. When I
More
saw
Sybil Shepherd.
When I saw Moonlighting, I was like, that'll be me. I'll be the guy that shows up to work hungover with a beard and like sleeps on the couch and has a fresh, always is putting on a dirty shirt.
Right,
I was like, I'm going to be that guy.
But knows how to turn it on and charm everyone. And fast
can play
talker.
the harmonica, like shit like that.
So you'd have your Bruno side where you could remember you had that was his album that came out.
Yeah. I went to rent an apartment in New York, and it was right by Planet Hollywood or wherever Bruce Willis tended bar. It was right around the corner, and the guy that was renting me the apartment said, "So what do you do?" I said, "I'm a comedian." He goes, one of my good friends, Brucey, did a little stand-up. And I said, "Who's that?" And he goes, Brucey.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis. And I went, "You friends with Bruce Willis?" He goes, "You don't call him Brucey if you don't know him." And I was like, oh. So I so badly want to fucking meet Bruce Willis and go, "Hey, do people call you Brucey?" Just to know if that guy was lying or not.
I guarantee you no one does.
Yeah.
No one he allows anyone to call him
Brucey.
Brucey does.
Yeah, that Die Hard fucking. This is ready for my movie pitch, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
This is my starring movie. Okay, this is like when I don't actually ever want to make a movie. To be dead honest with you, I don't think I like acting, but I like acting in a sitcom, not in a movie. I don't like single camera because there's no feedback, and I feel like I'm always fucking it up. So it fucks with my ego. If I knew I was doing good, I'd probably love it. But here's my movie. It's just like Die Hard, but it's set on a cruise ship, and it's a bunch of terrorists take over a cruise ship and they take us all hostage, and I find out in this process that I am the world's greatest hostage, and so I try to keep this hostage thing going as long as possible and not let us get rescued, and these guys are fucking it up so bad that I then they die and I have to Weekend at Bernie's them because I still want to be a hostage because
you want to stay on the cruise ship.
I love it. I'm happy as fuck. I'm the world's greatest hostage. I'm sucking everything else in life, but I'm a great fucking hostage. So it's Die Hard, but
reverse.
I'm Hans Gruber trying to make sure that no one can rescue us. Not that I'm going to let anyone die or anything, but I'm happy.
When you start to say terrorists take over a cruise ship, I thought of Speed 2, which was terrorists take over a cruise ship.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Or the new one, Captain Hank.
With
Tom
Somali
Hanks.
pirates.
Yeah.
That looks crazy.
It does look fucking
yeah.
That's the same dude that directed the United Flight movie and the first couple Bourne movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Maybe
it
I'll
looks
let him
like
direct mine.
it looks like Tom Hanks is the only recognizable actor in
I think
it.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy's talking earlier about Getz for my podcast. It'd be pretty amazing to talk to that guy
Because he'd be.
He's
phenomenal.
called into you guys, hasn't he?
You know what?
Because
No.
doesn't he do heavy promotion for most of his
He
movies?
does. Actually, he was around for that movie that he directed, and I guess a lot of times what happens is, and
that thing you do?
No. The Larry,
Larry Crown.
which was a bomb.
And just a weird ass movie. It just felt like it was the smallest story told with so little jokes.
A teacher
it
that
was just
falls
like
in love and
it wasn't
I was
dramatic
thinking
or
of-
comedic. It was a
Thomas
non-com.
Crown affair. I was like, he directed the Thomas Crown affair?
No. The one with Pierce Brosnan or the one with what's his
Brosnan
name?
was,
Steve McQueen.
Was
Pierce Brosnan.
McTiernan, wasn't? Didn't McTiernan direct?
Probably. McTiernan's like,
so
is he
He's
in
in
some
jail.
sort of trouble?
Yeah, because of he hired that nefarious dude to do surveillance and tapping and wiretapping and all this crap, and it was it blew up in his pockmarked face. So he's doing some jail time.
Really?
Yeah, but
And he's a great director.
he directed Die
The
Hard.
first Die Hard.
Tom
on
Hanks.
Red October.
Tom Hanks, another guy I fucking fashioned my life after. The same kind of guy that, kind of like the wild guy, sloppy shirt, kind of,
You see him as that way? You see Tom Hanks that way?
Yeah. I think
I like
maybe
it-
from
maybe-
Bosom Buddies.
Bosom-
and
Bachelor Party. Yeah.
Like I always saw
Not Adrian Smith.
I gravitated to those dudes. Chevy Chase in Caddyshack.
Right.
That was where I was like, that's me.
But
You want to be a smart alecky
A smart
guy who
alecky
just
guy
skates
with-
through life
Right.
and
Doesn't really
no
commit.
responsibility.
Exactly.
Well,
And you really, and you
I guess I am
well,
kind
you
of.
sort of, you're half-assing it though.
Yeah,
you got to get rid of the kids. You got to get rid of the treehouse. Get rid of the dogs.
Yeah.
yeah, trade up from just the booze to something more chemical.
Yeah.
And then you'd be good. But no, yeah, you're. I mean, you got to know that there are people who are looking at what you do for a living. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I guess maybe.
that guy's on top of the world.
Yeah.
And you still have a regular life. Too.
I'm very happily married with 2 kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I got rid of them, I bet I'd really fucking
just
soar.
take off, man.
I would soar.
Yeah. You know, like they say, the candle that burns the brightest burns twice as fast.
What's that? Side boot Sunday?
That's what it is, buddy.
Oh my god.
That's a great thing, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
You
ridiculous.
know, we do selfie Mondays.
Selfie Mondays. Yeah, I think I tried to send you a selfie once. I think
Wait, what's a selfie Monday? Just,
you take a picture of yourself with
Yeah.
your phone, and then you send it to
oh, that's it?
Preston.
Oh, I want nudity.
You put no.
Oh, is that what?
we get some very?
I'm sure they get some sexy ones,
Yeah.
but the idea is just that it's a self-taken photograph.
Oh, I'll give you a selfie. Oh, I'll give you a selfie.
I know, doesn't it? Sounds so dirty. It sounds
does,
like
yeah.
something you want somebody to.
I get
Do to you.
I get people that tweet me, what will the maid thinks, where they do their own, like they do the thing in the room, like I did.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You probably
Absolutely.
showed you.
Yeah, I know all that stuff.
And so
it's hilarious.
people will send me
Yeah.
their own, and then I always retweet those, or I retweet anyone that takes a picture.
Do
on a
you
sheet shirt.
ever have anyone who got in big trouble for trying to do something like that, trying to replicate?
No, not that I know of, though. I actually stopped reading Twitter altogether for a little bit. Like, there's
you take
so
a
many-
break?
Yeah, because what'll happen is I'll see so many positive ones, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for the negative one.
Right.
Like, so I just fucking kind of dodge it. I haven't been looking at it at all. Like right now, it's all positive because it's all about I partied with Doug Benson and Bert Kreischer last night.
Some girl just tweeted, I am just going to assume Bert Kreischer is going to be on Doug Benson, Philly, Doug Loves Movies. If not, it's a great loss for everyone.
Oh,
That's nice.
That's like
Wait.
too nice.
You
It's
must
tragic.
You must have. Oh, you hangover tip. Stay away from Bert Kreischer.
Oh, that's what I just read.
That's why
yeah.
I'm like everyone's talking about us. God, I'm looking for the picture of us. The kid was like, I want to send the picture of you and Flacco on Twitter, and I was like, great, but now I have so many fucking
Right. You get
things. I'm
bombarded.
never
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be able to find it. So
So where are you on to from here? Besides the,
I'm doing a little bit of I'm following the leader and doing a little Doug Benson move. I'm going to Toronto for one night.
yeah.
Buffalo for the weekend, another Helium Club, and then Nashville for one night, and then Atlanta for a weekend.
Wow.
So yeah, those one nights, man. I think those are That's a little bit of the. Doug's been doing it forever. I'll even take it to the next level. This was my other horrible idea. I want to do call-in sick shows where I go in and I do stand-up shows at like 9 in the morning, like where everyone just calls in sick, and we have like that like study hall moment where because I can definitely drink at 9 in the morning, but I don't know, it might turn into a fucking mess. Like bar opens at 6 in the morning.
We specialize in stuff like that. We have a number of live broadcast shows.
I just pitched his fucking radio show to him. Here's the idea. It's entertainment.
Get up early.
Get up early.
I mean, like
get some people around and
we just
entertain
had one
them.
for Memorial Day. We do it every Memorial Day. It's out at Keenan's in Wildwood, and the place at 7 o'clock in the morning, 1,000+ people in there, just getting hammered.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got. What was that? What was that crazy parade thing I did that one time?
The Thanksgiving Day parade.
Oh my God!
You were the Grand Marshal.
Grand Marshal of the Thanksgiving Day parade, where everybody comes in like bondage outfits. And
oh my God, you had me at bondage outfits. First porn I ever saw, first bit of pornography I ever saw was on accident. As a child, I was at a news like a book, not a bookstore, but a newspaper store, like a whatever that's called, newsstand. Yeah, and it was in next to an Italian restaurant on Fletcher in Tampa. You'll be able to find this place. And my parents are looking at things, and I picked up a bondage magazine. Wow. I'm like fucking maybe first grade, second grade, third grade, and I start flipping through it, and I'm like, oh. Yeah. Then cut to I do a bondage scene on For Hurt Bert with this girl, dominatrix Isabella, Mistress Isabella.
Where'd you have that?
Where in L.A.
Okay.
And we did it all. I mean, I literally did it all. I was naked. They fucking shocked my balls with a cattle prod. They put 5 pounds on my balls.
They did that? Yeah, because Casey did that. We do a month of stunts, and Casey, our producer, did the same. He didn't have that, but he had his nipples set on fire.
They did everything, candle wax. They did everything they could do, and I was like, none of it turned me on. I wasn't turned on. But then when we got done, I do know that I was turned on by her outfit. And I said, I got to be honest with you, I want to get that for my wife. She was like, oh, here. And then gave me a bunch of, this back when you had VCRs. Yeah. She gave me a bunch of VCR tapes of her stuff. And I put one in, and I was like, I'm not opening this box because... Have you ever seen the woman Rubber Doll? She's an adult star. No. She's all latex. That's her whole thing. Note to self. Google Rubber Doll. Siri. Seriously, Bert.
Yeah, Rubber Doll. She's
Rubber Doll is her name?
Latexed up. Yeah, that's her thing, because dudes get off. I guess you'd be one of them.
There is nothing. Now, it's something I find. I'm not super into it because it's not my regular sex life.
It's not
like
your scene.
Me and my wife don't do that stuff.
Right.
It's one thing to walk in on your parents having sex. It's another thing if dad's in a zipper mask.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, go back to bed. Like,
right.
But I love when guys share porn advice. Like, have you seen this? And then you're like, as soon as you hear that, you're like, this is going to be good. That's almost better than a restaurant recommendation. Oh, yeah. Like when they go...
It's Porn Yelp.
Yeah. Oh, Yoshi. Do you know Yoshi?
I do. And he's given me some disgusting things.
He was like, I can't do the Yoshi. Do you know Yoshi?
Not familiar.
Oh, Yoshi.
Why would he know Yoshi?
Because Yoshi's a comic. If he ever comes out, get him on your show. He's really fascinating, and he has a really great insight when it comes to porn. He was telling me, he's like, have you never seen Rocco Siffredi's? And I go, no. And he goes, he's interesting because he really pushes the boundaries. And I was like, oh. So then I'm on the road, bored, Googling Rocco Siffredi's. I'm like, oh my God, pushes the boundaries is an understatement. He's having sex with a girl and he puts her face in the toilet. I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
This isn't sexy. Who's into this?
There are, though.
Somebody
is.
Somebody named Yoshi.
Germany, yeah.
Yoshi's, so he gave me, this is my
He's seen it all,
Yoshi
that guy.
story. He gave me, he edited porn. So he used to come to
he does compilations?
He did it all.
Really?
And so he was like, he comes to Chicago one time, comes to the back room, and he goes, hey, do you mind if I do a guest set? And I was like, of course. I think he's funny as shit. So I go, his stand-up is very aggressive. Yeah. Like, it's very out there.
Right.
But I have a cultured sense of humor when it comes to stand-up. So he goes on, and he does well, and he comes off stage, and he goes, thank you so much. I have some porns in my car, and if you want, I can give them to you, and you can give them away with your DVDs. And I was like, oh, that'd be fucking great. Everyone will buy one now. So I go out. I'm selling a DVD for $20. But Yoshi has said that with every DVD, you get a free porn.
Without you checking them?
I had not seen them. I had not seen the porns.
You just thought it was porn.
Yeah, just porn.
People fucking and sucking.
Maybe girl on girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
maybe guy on girl. Maybe 2 girls, 1
But
guy.
instead it's like stacked gaping.
It
you
is.
know, like where there's 8 girls on top of each other and they're all making their assholes as large as possible.
Yep, I didn't know what gaping was until that evening. I sold out of my DVDs on that one show. I sold 30 DVDs that night, and all of my fans got the most aggressive porn I've ever seen in my life. Tony Baldino goes, why don't we throw in one of those porns? Just see what you got. We put one in, and it is fucking some girl rummaging through another girl's pussy, like literally just fisting her, and I'm like, ugh. And Tony's laughing hysterically. He goes, "You just gave this to 30 people as your calling card."
That's your
fucking
that's your
worst.
There was no Twitter at the time?
No Twitter.
yeah.
So you never got any feedback? Nobody,
No feedback. This
Nobody's
back when
ever
you could
come
sell-
up to you at a show and said,
Hey,
you
man,
gave
you
me
really
that
turned
horrible
me on.
porn?
We got a great little door prize for you.
It was
check this out.
Check out. This is a girl with a door. We put a door in a girl.
Oh God! I was like, Yoshi, man, you got to tell me. He goes, wow, it's good stuff. I'm doing a horrible Yoshi accent.
It's good stuff. You like it.
Yeah, you
He's
like
Dracula.
Oh, you like it? He goes, what was the girl's name? Her name is, she's the fucking, God. She's got the gap. Belladonna. It was.
Yes, yeah.
There was a lot of Belladonna, and he was like, Belladonna is one of the best performers you'll ever see. He's like, she really commits. I was like, yeah, she does. Yeah, she fucking definitely does. I'm obsessed.
So never any feedback. Nobody ever said, "Hey."
No, I'm obsessed right now. I'm obsessed with following porn stars on Vine, but not for like a lot of them don't show like any.
No.
That's what they're saying. It's interesting to see them interacting in regular society. Like
Yeah.
I'm fascinated at watching them do do the same stuff.
I'm at
we
the
find.
drive-through.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah, they're always finding their dogs.
they
and
find their
stuff.
dogs, and like I'll tell you right now, this is my favorite person to follow. Everyone probably already follows her. My favorite person to follow on Twitter, on Vine, is Jessie Andrews. Do you know who Jessie Andrews is?
I'm familiar with the name. We might have had her in. We've had a few of them come through the show.
She's young. She looks young. That's I think her thing is she looks very young.
That's okay. Yeah.
But the thing that's really fascinating about her is she does porn, and I've seen it. And it's okay. I'm not.
Right.
I gotta be honest with you. Fairly pedestrian.
Right.
Like I was like okay, but she's also a DJ and she makes jewelry, and so all her vines are about the other side of her life. She never gets naked.
Have you seen the documentary? It's pretty wild. It's called After Porn.
No.
It's really good. It follows from the going back to like the Seika era, and some of the earlier porn stars, and even some of the more current ones. But it shows it's fairly balanced. Some who had nothing but great experiences and went on to have great things. But it shows a very interesting run of cause it's like when we have porn stars and we don't do the you're so hot, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'd rather find out like that.
Yeah.
What's the industry like? Who do you hate? What do you hate when a dude comes in and takes a towel off? What are you doing to get yourself going? And the ones who really will give you an insight into that. Those are the ones we really dig having on the show. But this movie kind of does that as well because it shows you, like Seika loved it, and then there are other people who just, I forget which one it was, but she moved to Salt Lake City because she figured the likelihood of people having seen her movies there would diminish, and she found out that wasn't the case.
I've never run into a porn star in person, but I think when I do, I will totally call myself out on accident.
Yeah,
if I bumped into Jessie Andrews, I'd be like, Jessie! And she'd be like, huh? I'm like, never mind.
How do you
Right.
spell it?
G-J-E
The first 3 G's are silent.
SSIE Andrews. She's in I follow her. Just go to my Vine. That's what I do. I go to everyone's Vine and then follow who they follow that I like. I got to stop following
such a
Riff Raff.
follower.
He's fucking exhausting. Riff
Who?
Raff. He's a rapper, but he's like one of those.
You're into that.
absurdist-
You're serious. You are a rapping.
Oh yeah, I'm
aficionado.
really into hip hop. That's why I love talking. That's why I love talking. I used to love talking about race and culture, and because it always fascinates me.
Right.
Patrice is one of the first people that you could have. I would have open. I could ask him any question I wanted, and you never offended Patrice.
No.
And you could talk to him about everything. And one night we were in Scotland. I'm drinking, and he's explaining Jay-Z to me. Because he's like, all your hip-hop that you like sucks. He goes, let me show you real hip-hop, what black people like. And I was like, okay. So he played Jay-Z, and this was before Jay-Z was out, like big.
Right, yeah.
And he played that Big Pimpin' song. And Patrice was explaining the beauty of pimping. And he was like, do you hear this lyric? And he kept playing it over and over again. Beep, beep, and I'm picking him up. Let him play with the dick in the truck. And he goes, you're sitting outside. You're not even getting out of the car. Just beep, beep, and I'm picking him up. Maybe I'll let him play with my dick in the truck on where we're driving. And I was like, he just kept going, that's the greatest lyric. You hear that? And I was like, yeah. And then he was like, you don't know anything about black people. I go, I don't think I do. And he goes, we're watching Bruce Lee. So then we watched Bruce Lee for the rest of the night.
Isn't that wild that Bruce Lee became... Because I was a huge Bruce Lee fan as well, but there is, and I kid you not, it was in the it's a kiosk in the Franklin Mills Mall. I don't know if it's still there, but it definitely has an urban flavor to it. So it's all black exploitation movies, and the other half of it is Bruce Lee movies. So but it's all for, because I love that. I'm like Quentin Tarantino in that. I love the black exploitation films of the 70s and the all that stuff. It's just great.
See, I'm dying to know. This is what I want, especially when I love hanging out with Donnell. You know Donnell Rollins?
Yes.
I love hanging out with Donnell because Donnell will be able to explain. I'm dying to know why Kung Fu and karate got so big in Harlem. Because it was like that, and I wonder, I'm sure Malcolm Gladwell could totally explain this, but I'm sure there was some sort of influx of Asian immigrants coming up to that area, and what they knew how to do was, Chinese food and karate studios, but it's like stuff like that fucking fascinating. Did you find Jessie Andrews? Mm-hmm. She's
got a lot of pictures of herself, though. It's not just pictures of her jewelry.
Those are the nice ones. She'll every now and then, but right now, apparently she's on a boat. Nope, that's not a boat. That's a bus. And
she's on a bus, so things are going great.
But I always she went to the Kentucky Derby, and she was dressed up as she looked beautiful.
She had a big hat on.
Big hat on, and she's with all her friends, and they're with these guys who look really like
regular guys.
Regular guys that my friends. They look like my friends,
right?
And I so badly go, do they know she's a porn star? I want to know, because if I know for a fact that if me and my friends went to the Kentucky Derby and one of us knew that was a porn star. That would be the most unfun. We'd all be waiting to take there's no.
You couldn't relax.
We couldn't relax,
right? Because you'd have that thing. That's what we try to get past when we have someone come in and just talk about. Because it's such an alien lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's such an alien lifestyle to anybody. That's why everyone's fascinated by it.
It really is. It really is the final straw of going, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Louis C.K. does not give a fuck when it comes to stand-up. He'll do whatever. He will say... He really doesn't give a fuck. He has no repercussions, I feel like sometimes. He's out there. No one's calling in. I've always felt Tosh was going to be that way, and then he would apologize for that joke, and I was like, I didn't see that coming from Tosh.
Yeah.
But he had to. You got to save your TV show. And you've got a bunch of people's jobs to worry about. But the porn stars do that. They really don't give a fuck. They do shit that you're blown away.
Some of them, you know what? It's because there's all different takes on it, though. Some of them do give a fuck. Some of them are some of them regret. Some of them are love it, love the lifestyle. Yeah. Some of it, the ones that seem to really love it, take ownership of it. Really, the industry is mostly, oh, there you go. Yeah, she's very Girl Next Door.
She really looks like Girl Next Door, and she's cute, but this is when I realized how great it is. Brie Olson, boring as fuck. Boring as fuck. She literally, it's almost like she's done doing porn because she's not living a crazy lifestyle. Sure. But she was with Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
and I was like,
we had her on a couple times, and she was actually really good. The ones who come in, Jenna Hayes is always awesome, and Lisa Ann.
You gotta love Jenna Hayes because she picked the name Hayes because she's a big stoner.
Really?
Yeah, that's the
my favorite
the gag
porn.
there. But now there's lots of girls with the last name Hayes. You can have any name you want. It's weird that these girls just when they pick their name, they just pick an already existing name. I think part of that is because they'll be they'll come up in searches for that other person. Right. It's a way to and there's a girl there's at least one girl in porn, maybe more, that has Aniston as her last name.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, she.
My
I
favorite's
like her,
Tara
so
Patrick.
why not?
Tara Patrick. Did we talk about this? We talked about this on air, didn't we?
I'm not sure.
Tara Patrick picked her name because it was Carmen Electra's real name.
Is Carmen Electra's
real name is Tara Patrick.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. Tara Patrick. I love that name. That's a great porn name.
I think Tara Patrick is one of the people in this after porn.
Oh, really?
You got to check it out. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
She's dating that dude that's in the band now. Never mind. I'm so fucking bad with information. I tell you half of what.
I know. I got that too, though.
And then it's funny what I do have in my rep. Right now I can tell you the whole cast of Puss in Boots because I woke up to it and I was like, I recognize that voice. Who is it? I always assume it's Patton Oswalt that's playing Humpty Dumpty.
But it's not.
It's not. And I go, I know that voice.
Patton Oswalt was Ratatouille.
Yeah. And so I'm laying in bed, I'm hungover as shit, and I'm listening to this voice that I know. I go, I know this guy. I don't know who it is.
I woke up to that movie today, too.
Really? Did you hear the voice?
I fell asleep with HBO on last night.
Yeah, me too.
And then woke up to, I am also known as. He's like listing off all these names.
Yeah.
They're like really weird.
That's
great.
So, anyway.
So
you figured it out?
Humpty Dumpty was Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, do I know him as and then I was like, oh, I actually know that voice. Like, I know him. But, so I was like, I woke up like going, who is it? But I played that game, like laying in bed trying to figure out. I was like, that's Antonio Banderas. That's Selma Hayek. I was like, I'm going through. I go, that's Billy Bob Thornton.
Right.
And then I go, that's Amy Sedaris. I know that voice. And then I was like, who's the fucking, and I'm fucking forever. And then, so yeah, now if you look at my Google search engine, it's Unix, Puss in Boots. Someone finds my phone,
Sure,
Jesse
yeah.
Andrews.
It's okay. They already know.
That's a lady
They already know
eunuch
what you're
who
looking
has
at.
her puss in boots.
Yeah.
She
So
removed her puss and put it in a shoe.
I was not watching.
She didn't know what to do.
Last night I watched Blu-ray. I got a Life Force. Do you remember that movie Life Force?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
wait, what's Life
That's
Force?
a weird. That movie creeped me out.
Yeah. So that's Life Force is a Tobe Hooper movie. He directed it after Poltergeist. It's basically like an old type Hammer movie, like Quatermass or like a Doctor Who type thing.
Yeah.
But it's space vampires, and they just released it.
And there's like a chick walking around naked through the whole
Matilda
thing.
May.
Right?
She's totally naked throughout the whole thing, and just looks phenomenal. But they actually have her, an interview with her, and all that stuff. For if you love movies, the stuff that they're putting out on Blu-ray now, and they throw them out in these combo packs for like $9.
Really?
And they have all this additional making of stuff. But that, and I watched that Hansel and Gretel 3D. That
how is that?
you know what? It's a piece of crap, but it's but it's fun crap. It's really I was enjoying it. I mean,
This is how I judge it. Is it better than Limitless? Because I liked Limitless, and I also liked This Means War.
it's different. It's certainly different than Limitless.
Fucking Limitless.
There's
I
a
was
lot
like,
more trolls in Hansel and Gretel.
I definitely have the Hollywood intelligence that I didn't know. I've said this before, but I didn't know that he was a ghost in Sixth Sense. Like I figured it out at the end. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like. And so I have the Hollywood intelligence that Limitless, I start going, whoa, this is really brilliant. This is great writing.
Right, yeah.
So I like that movie a lot. And I laughed hysterically at This Means War. I laughed hysterically. I don't
Really?
know why.
That's
It
so
just really
bizarre.
caught me
It's
off
not
guard.
funny at all.
It's. I remember even at the last thing where she knew the one defect or whatever, the one thing on the SUVs that caused.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I was laughing too hard.
Oh, you couldn't.
I laughed myself out of the room. I was like, I'm fucking.
They're both charismatic actors, and
Chris Pine's. I put my money on Chris Pine. That one guy, Thomas Jane, not Thomas Jane, Bane.
Oh, but yeah,
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy is great.
He's that guy's a fucking pimp.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
They've been running that. But the funny thing is, if you look in the movie where he's Bane, they have him looking like a mountain. He's not that big a dude.
He's not. How do they do? He must have done a cycle of
He's
steroids.
not that tall. No, he's certainly pumped up for the role, but he's
Yeah.
not as tall. He's.
I think he's like. He's got to be. I'm gonna guess 5'6".
No. There's no way they would have gone with a 5'6" actor for Bane. Wait, yeah, come on. But what about Adam Rich?
You're crazy.
Doug was telling me a story last night, and he goes, this is the same story we were having. He goes, who's surprisingly short?
Peter Gallagher.
And I thought he said Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
And I was
Like, yeah, of course he's short. You
I
idiot.
couldn't stop laughing. And he goes, no, he came to one of my shows.
Peter Gallagher's short. He's not Peter Dinklage short.
No.
No, but he's for some reason Peter Gallagher always seemed really tall to me, like in Idolmaker and
Sure.
everything that he's done,
At least
American
6
Beauty.
feet, right?
Holy shit.
And
Did you
I
know
think he's
Thomas
about
Hardy's Ed Hardy's son?
5'10", maybe. Like he's like I was looking him pretty eye to eye, and I'm 5'11".
Really?
Yeah. So I was surprised by it. But that that happens every time. Like everybody's shorter than you think they are. Or different than what you think they are.
True.
Like when people meet me, they're always like, I thought you'd be taller or shorter
You
or
must just be spelling Thomas Hardy wrong.
fatter. Tom Hardy,
Hardy.
TOM.
He's not
HARDY.
not Ed Hardy's brother.
No.
And he's not the poet. Tom Hardy.
Yeah. Where are you entering this?
5'3".
Here,
He's 5'9". He's 5'9".
5'9". See, 5'9". He's not that. But there's a lot of guys like that. Like Tom Cruise is probably about that size.
Yeah. 5'9" is pretty small to be Bane.
5'9".
How did they make him be Bane at 5'9"?
Well, they had to have him on.
They
like,
shoot him from like from below a lot, and
Yeah.
and what's his name probably isn't much taller.
Christian Bale.
Bale, yeah.
Probably he's probably in the 5'10" range.
I dated
Yeah.
a fucking chick one time. That right before the chick before my wife, and this is why I broke up with her practically.
She was
goes,
6'6"?
she goes, no, she goes, do you want to go to dinner with me and my friends tonight? And I was like, not really. Like I don't want to go. She says, it's a dinner party. Come on, it'll be
You're
nice.
so
And
needy.
I was like, I'm okay. And she goes, all right. And so I didn't go. And then the next day, she was like, yeah, Christian Bale was really upset you didn't go. He loved stand up. And I was like, hold on, Christian Bale was at that fucking party? Like, you got to open with, do you want to meet Christian Bale? Because he's going to be at this fucking party. And then I would have gone. But I'm not going to go meet a bunch of people that I don't want.
Maybe she didn't know.
No,
that
she
that
knew.
he was
She
gonna
goes,
be there.
Her friend is married to him. And I was like,
Oh well, then
how do you not tell me any of this?
Well, now you could still meet him, then, right?
No,
now you
I
can.
broke up with her.
Now you can make it happen.
I broke with her. We had a threesome. It fucking ended horribly.
Oh, I thought you meant your wife.
No.
So how long ago was this? Was Christian Bale not Batman yet?
No, that's definitely not Batman. But
But
knew
he
him.
was.
He was American
He was
Psycho
Patrick
already.
Bateman.
Yeah, he was Patrick Bateman.
He was
I love
Bateman.
Yeah.
Beat man.
I
That's a new character. I like that. Beat man.
he was, and I love that writer who wrote that book, American Psycho.
Oh,
LS.
yes.
L.L. Bean.
LL Bean wrote
great.
it.
Guy writes 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Warrior made me cry.
Did it?
I saw it on a plane. I started sobbing uncontrollably.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah.
I thought that movie was underrated.
fucking really good movie. Nick Nolte's a fucking savage. In
I think it was Joe Rogan approved, even like
Really?
like
That
the fighting and
matched up?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that what happened was it was one script, and they took one and made it comedic, and one that made it serious.
Really?
Yeah. Here Comes the Boom and Warrior, the same script.
That seems kind of bizarre.
Psych. There's a new segment on
That
this
seems
show
kinda-
called
that seems
Try
hard to believe.
There was a TV show that I liked on FX that was about a fighter.
Yeah.
Lights Out. I think it was called Lights Out
Really?
or Lights. I think.
I don't know.
But that was like his nickname as a fighter was Lights Out, and it was I forget the name of the actor.
One season, right?
Yeah, it was just one and out, but it had really good actors. It was kind of like maybe the reason people didn't cotton to it. It was kind of like the movie The Fighter, but a series.
Okay.
And I love that movie, The Fighter.
The Fighter's
Christian
great.
Bale's amazing.
Unbelievable. I mean, he looked totally. His transformation in The Machinist was pretty staggering, but the way he physically became that brother, that crazy.
that was
Oh, the
that was
fighter!
a well-deserved
I saw
award.
that. Okay, that's one with Marky
Tom.
Marky Mark and
Mark, he
Amy
was.
Adams is like kind of a tough broad in it, and
Sue Costello's in it.
has like a real body, you know, like she's got kind of like she's like wearing a stomach revealing shirt at one point, but she's got kind of a little bit of a gut. It's pretty kind of
Tom
sexy.
Hardy is as tall as Adam Devine.
Is that a site?
Adam Devine is God
Who's
damn
as
it.
tall as TomHardy.com?
I'm not saying Adam's short, but to think that Tom Hardy is the exact same size as Adam Devine, that Adam Devine could have played Bane, is fucking. Adam Devine is from Workaholics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's a fucking great guy. I want to have him on the podcast. I should
Why were
definitely
you
have
just
him.
looking his name up?
Because I thought they looked alike. Adam Devine and Tom Hardy, and then I was like, I bet they're the same height, and they're the same fucking height. They're exactly the same
Who
height.
else could play Bane at 5'9"?
Yeah.
So Chris Pine must not be very tall either. If
No,
they were
Chris
like
Pine's got to be
head to head.
6'1".
You think?
Yeah, because I that's what made me think that.
But
Tom
then
Hardy
they have
was
scenes where
short.
they're like standing there face to face, and they
And-
were the same size, kind of.
Yeah, they do, but that's apple boxed, I'm sure. When they go in to get the Russian gangster and they walk through the door, that's when I realized, oh my God, Tom Hardy's not that tall because he's literally at Chris Pine's shoulder.
Wait.
And I was like,
How tall is Chris Pine?
Chris Pine's
6'0". I saw him in a play. He was really good.
By the way, that Google voice recognition is on-effing real.
Oh, really?
In a crowded room, you could you ask it anything.
Really? Ask him how tall I am.
Oh, that wasn't Siri?
No. Google voice recognition.
I need the new fucking iPhone.
Better.
Yeah, because that was amazing. Like Siri would just send you to some website or something.
Yeah.
I'll ask Siri.
How tall is Bert Kreischer?
Oh God, it's not going to know who I am.
6'0", it says you
She's
are.
wrong, but who put that out there?
Does she say I'm 5'11"? Ask her about me.
All right. How tall is Doug Benson? He just sends me the Wikipedia page.
How tall is Tom Hardy?
Let me think.
That's Siri, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I found.
Oh, so she brought up a page that says that he's
All right.
5'8.9".
So is this
I'll ask Google.
just out of curiosity, Steve? Is this the podcasting pacing you were talking about?
Podcasting pacing. How tall is Tom Hardy? There you go.
Nice.
See how fast that Google voice recognition is?
It's good.
Wait, how tall is? Fucking, this is fun.
yeah.
Thanks, Siri.
You're all Siri.
Of course.
It's a
Well.
little slow on the response.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes I ask her things.
How
and
much money
I get?
is Doug
I fight with her. I get so angry when she won't give me what I want.
Let's see if my Siri sucks. I
Siri's,
always feel like I'm waking my
Siri's
Siri
great
up.
for running the phone, for running phone functions
Would
and
you like me to
reminders.
search the web for how much money does Doug Benson work?
Work?
Worth.
How much does he work?
Worth. I love Celebrity Net Worth. That's my other.
Oh, he
fucking
loves
site.
it. He loves.
Do you?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
and
log in
it's
all the time. That's all I
Speaking
do.
of things that are wrong, they're wrong about
Who's
me.
astonishingly wealthy, I just found out.
Gilbert Gottfried.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
She was a trust fund kid.
Billions, yes.
yeah, but
Billions.
Yeah, she already had money, and now it's the Seinfeld money.
Yeah, on top
Must
of
be
that.
insane.
Yeah. Her great grandmother was Marie Pasteur, Louis Pasteur.
Are you? No.
No, just made that up.
You just made that up, yeah.
No, but her dad was a huge fucking like money dude, and she came into L.A. with millions before. I was
She's
I
so
was with Adam
talented,
Richmond.
such a funny
I was with Adam
actress.
Richmond at an airport.
Goes full circle. Yeah.
And we started talking about money, just like random stuff. And I said something. I said, "You never been to Celebrity Net Worth?" And he was like, "No." And I go, "Oh, it's fucking great." And then I go, "Ooh, let's see how much money you're worth." And so I Googled it in, and it's like Adam Richmond's worth $8 million or something. I go, "Is it right?" And he goes, "Not even close." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Not even fucking remotely close." I go, "Seriously?"
Down or up?
Oh, down. And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm not worth $8 million." He goes, "If I was worth $8 million, I wouldn't be on fucking Travel Channel." And I was like, "Yeah, but it's all way off."
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you're on there.
No, I already told you it's wrong.
Yeah.
They say I'm worth $1 million, and that's not true.
well, you never know.
I'm no millionaire. What do you mean you never know? I'm pretty aware of my finances.
Well, you never know, Doug.
What you're invested in.
That's one of these things. You don't know. You might have
Liquid
some,
assets.
Yeah. Liquid
it's
assets.
possible, yeah.
I'm not worth anything. I'm actually upside down. So, like, that's why I'm not on there. I guess is because you have to have.
Oh yeah,
you
that's
have to
why.
have assets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you also have to be famous.
Not what's in your.
Someone's gotta care. That's why
What's
I'm
your
not on there.
word?
No one fucking cares. No, I was pissed off because I looked at Bill Burr. He's worth $6 million, and I was like, Bill Burr's worth $6 million. In my head, I started going, I got to be worth $3 million. Not that I even have the money. I'm just thinking for on that site that someone's got to be like $2 million, million, definitely $1 million.
It's astonishing some of that stuff. There was a list we were looking at. Just the amount of loot that some of these people have. It's beyond crazy money. It's just excessive. I mean, just astonishing amounts of cash. You know who's worth a shitload?
Who?
Judge Judy Scheinlin.
Really?
Huge money. The number one show. She was the one who was basically convinced Oprah to leave daytime TV because People's Court was kicking her ass in the ratings.
Really?
Yeah. Judge Judy, for Christ's sake.
Fuck.
I mean, it's just tons of money.
I've seen a lot of Judge Judy clips online.
Yeah?
Yeah, just like when she starts bitch slapping people verbally. I got that and Judge Joe Brown.
For me, it was always Judge Wapner. Judge Wapner was the first People's Court.
It was Harvey
Levin was one of the...
TMZ?
Yeah.
He was one of the guys who'd be outside the court on the street
Yeah.
talking to people. That was early days of Judge Judy, I think, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the dude who created TMZ.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't mind watching TMZ. I kind of like it. But there are people in
Oh yeah, they can't stand
who
it.
fucking hate it. People,
Yeah.
especially like
People bring it up all the time, like it's the downfall of society.
Yeah, Steve Byrne. I was like, oh, I got excited that this one day at the airport was like a fucking celebrity packed day. I mean, literally, I ran into Amy Schumer, Bill Burr, and Steve Byrne at the. That's not a lot of celebrities, but But here's the other thing: Cedric the Entertainer walked in behind me, and I got out of my car at LAX, and my daughters were there, and the paparazzi hit me. They're like, "Bert," and I was like, "Oh shit!" I got excited.
Right.
So, but I saw Steve Byrne, and Steve hates TMZ. He's like, "That's fucking an intrusion." Like,
here's the way I look at it. If they're doing the kind of thing where they farm it out to a lot of other third party people.
Yeah.
So if they're there and they're standing in front of your car and they're trying to get you to run over them and they're trying to agitate and get all that stuff going, that can be a pain in the ass. But there seems to be so many people who know how to play TMZ just right.
Yeah.
Stop for a second.
Oh yeah. They
say, "Hey guys, how you doing?"
Yeah, and they always just ask random dumb
Right.
questions. It's kind of like being interviewed by Howard Stern or something. Like what do you think about the only time I've been on TMZ, they asked me about Mel Gibson had done another stupid thing.
Yeah.
And they're like asking me, what do you think Mel should have done? I was like, well, I tell you, he's probably not a weed smoker, because if he was, he probably wouldn't be so hostile or whatever. And it got on the show, but it was Harvey wasn't there that day, and so the black guy with dreads was like running the room. And when they brought me up, he had no idea who I was. And when they even said, from the marijuana logs, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It was like, the dude with dreads doesn't know.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, if you're working for TMZ, shouldn't you have an idea?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of what your whole
So
job
only
is?
the reason
your
you're
job
there.
is predicated.
Well,
It
that's the
amazes me
funny
when
thing.
You have the fucking the guy who played the gardener on Hazel, in the 50s or 60s. He shows up at the airport and there's 10 TMZ people around going, "How's your immigration thing going?"
Yeah.
They don't know you.
Well, that's the thing about that show is that bullpen, when they're sitting around just talking about stuff, it's like they'll have varying levels of knowledge of celebrities. It's just sort of like they all just sort of, I don't know how anyone ends up at TMZ. Like, how's that surfer guy that's in there all the time? Like, where did he come from? What did he do? Yeah.
She's in great shape.
But it's funny how they all sit there and say mean things about celebrities and all laugh about it and stuff. And Harvey with his stupid sippy cup thing that he's always got.
Right.
It's a very strange show. And Brody Stevens was guest hosted it for a week or something.
That's right before
Right before he had his meltdown or whatever.
They do the live thing every day. They do that. They actually have a live video cast of
on Ustream. I get inundated with fucking emails from Ustream about TMZ's live right now. I'm like, did they sign a deal with you? What the fuck?
It's wild though.
What do you do? Do you we just talk until?
No, I was just about to say. I think we're at 2 hours. This has actually been. I got to be dead honest with you. This was the most seamless conversation I've ever had in my entire fucking life. I hope to God this is good. I don't know what makes for a good podcast, but I've really fucking enjoyed this.
Well, this is my first foray into unchecked, as you said, podcast pacing. But I enjoyed it.
This was fun. You know so much shit.
I know a little bit about. It's the perfect model for what I do. I don't know enough to be accomplished or knowledgeable on anything.
There's clearly a reason you're on radio.
But I can get in by a minute, and then at the 1 minute 30 mark is when my imbecility is obvious. So I'm good for that first ramp up, and then I tip my hand quickly that I don't know that much.
You can fucking. This has been
references. He makes a lot of good references.
Yeah, you know things that I don't know. That's why I like hanging out with people that are smarter than me.
Well, you may have lost on this one, but yeah.
Like Preston will read a crazy, weird story, bizarre story, and then Steve will just jump right in with, just a nice little button at the end of it.
It's a good synergy. You talk about that what makes something, the Preston, he just constant eye contact when we're doing the show, and he gets
and you have your hands on each other's genitals the whole time.
It's gently
It's
coming
really-
each other's eunuch.
The gentle eunuch stroking.
It's really a eunuch partnership you have there.
But it works well. So
I thank you for letting me come on your show because you guys sell a ridiculous amount of tickets.
Yeah, that's the other thing about radio everywhere else is that doesn't happen anymore.
really?
You can't fill a comedy club just by
I can tell
just
you, I
by
can
one
tell you
radio
that, yeah.
appearance.
I can tell you the shows that are worth their salt, where like you go in and you're like, and you do it and you fucking see a direct reflection and you're like, holy shit, those listeners listen. It's like sometimes with podcasts, you do someone's podcast, you get no feedback on Twitter. Then you do Pete Holmes, and all of a sudden it's like fucking inundated, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like Doug Love's Movies, I did that if I had a nickel for every time people quoted one of my ignorant statements.
Yeah,
that
you'd
I
have
made,
like $2.50 probably.
I would have a lot. I would definitely, yeah. I should maybe say a larger sum than a
Sure,
nickel.
yeah.
If I had $100,000,
If you had $1 million for
Yeah.
every time, you'd be worth $8 million
I
on
did
that site.
Doug Love's Movies one time, and I you've just witnessed today. I came up with every fact that was completely unchecked.
Oh, everything we said today that was wrong, someone will tweet.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guarantee, and that's one of the. So you still go for it, you
Yeah.
know, but it's you have a whole collective of fact checkers.
Yeah.
Ready. That's why I knew I had to jump. That's why when I heard Bo Swenson, I was like, wait, no.
Yeah.
Joe Don Baker.
It's amazing. Someone sitting in their car going, "Not Joe Don Baker. How did I not know this?"
yeah.
I do that all the time. I listen to a podcast and I'll go, "No." Like Rogan will say something and I'll be like, "No, it's this thing." In my car, in my head, I'll be like,
Yeah.
correct." Like, "No, I know what you're looking for. It's this. Go there right now and then move forward."
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they're like, "No, someone Google that," and I'm like, "It's this. How do I know this?" But if I was on the show, I'd be like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Sure,
Well, thank you so much for coming over, Steve.
My
I appreciate
pleasure.
it, man.
Thank you so much, Bert. I appreciate it.
Anything you want to promote?
We're just cleanliness and a general respect for hygiene. That's all. Yeah.
Perfect, Douglas. Do you have any dates?
Agreed. And douglasmovies.com.
All right, and then we're doing.
That's where all my stuff is,
by the time
including
this one's
my
out-
one sponsor,
Who's your sponsor?
Hulu Plus.
I'll take that out.
I'm a member.
What?
I'll take that out. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.